You ain't from the hood. Nah, you ain't get put on, you ain't from the hood. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood. Niggas always claim to say blood ain't from the hood. Hell nah. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood. Oh, I live in the hood, ass nigga. Never got put on, always claiming the hood though. Oh, you fucking with the homegirl, but don't come to the hood with none of your damn homeboys. They don't get a pass. Had the little homies press they ass for your tattoos. Hey, your mama waking up to some bad news. The plug saying groove, I'm a dime. I was long in the race, skinny nigga with the braid. Took a 2-man fade. I'm really from the hood. I took a fucking break to get my money right. But I was banging on the plane in the meeting with Jermaine. They like, poet, oh, you bang? They forgot where I came from. I was gang banging when it wasn't fun. Homie doing life right now, cause we don't play for fun. You ain't from the hood. Nah, you ain't get put on, you ain't from the hood. So what? You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood. Niggas always claim to say blood ain't from the hood. Hell nah. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood. And that goes for these hoes too. Start fucking on niggas and throwing these niggas hood up. Ha, little dot. Heard you gave a homie head in the trap spot. Got a throwaway in the stash spot. Boy, you not real, like a Sasquatch. Boy, I'm so high, I'm seeing astronauts. Boy, I ball hard, I need a mascot. Oh, and Swahili, I'm a diamond. My little cousin making Paru. My nigga Uzi, he from Five Deuce. Pad blows, I be hanging with some real whoops. Gang signs out the window when we drive coupes. Making money with some crips like it's 92. Banging on tracks. Back in my days, it was banging on. You ain't from the hood. Nah, you ain't get put on, you ain't from the hood. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood. Niggas always claim to say blood ain't from the hood. Hell nah. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood.
Fuck Chris Brown, nigga. Pull up in the hood right now, nigga. Catch your fade, nigga. Fuck, nigga. Frogs.
You ain't from the hood.
Well, we know Hershel Walker is from the hood. I don't know about no Raphael Warnock. I don't know if Raphael Warnock from the hood. We won't talk together. I don't know if Raphael Warnock is from the hood because Raphael Warnock just got his ass schooled. Remember, everybody was talking about, Hershel Walker is dumb. Hershel Walker can't complete a sentence. Hershel Walker is going to get his ass crushed at the debate. Why is Hershel Walker even in the debate? He's so fucking dumb. He's so illiterate. Well, he ran circles around Raphael Warnock. Now, I had a debate with somebody earlier, right? Now, they were saying, they didn't want to admit that Hershel Walker destroyed Raphael Warnock. They didn't want to admit that, right? They just said, Hershel Walker done better than I expected. No, he done better than everybody expected. And Raphael Warnock done worse than everybody expected, right? It's either two things, right? They said, well, Hershel Walker had a good speeching coach and he was prepared, right? So you mean to tell me they both had equal amount of time to prepare for this, right? So Hershel Walker had somebody who sent me a donation. The Master of Violence. You going up in the skit. You going up in the skit tomorrow. I'm releasing a skit. If I get enough donations, you going up in the skit, right? But they said Raphael Warnock, right? And Hershel Walker had equal time to prepare. So if that's the best that Raphael Warnock can do when he had the same amount of time to prepare and he had the same coaching and all that shit was horrible, right? And if he didn't prepare because he just thought he was going to overpower and out intelligent Hershel Walker, that was a bad call too. So whoever prepared Raphael Warnock, whoever got his debate questions and answers and all that shit ready, right? Totally fucked it up. Now I heard everybody say, right? Everybody say, well, Hershel Walker kept on comparing him to Joe Biden. Well, wait a minute. Didn't every time Raphael Warnock say when he signed, he said he signed some shit in with Joe Biden. I signed this bill in. I signed this bill in. Well, Raphael Warnock can talk about how he signed bills with Joe Biden all the fuck he want. But when Hershel Walker bring it up, he wrong. He wrong. He totally destroyed this fool. Let's get into this. Who sent me another donation? Time sent me another donation. What's up with it, Tom? Let's get into this. Let's get into this debate, and let's point out the obvious. Raphael Warnock got destroyed.
Raphael Warnock and Joe Biden had done to you and your family. Tonight, he's going to try to sweet talk you that he's doing.
And sweet talking, he done none of, right? He said he's going to try to sweet talk. He tried, but he wasn't successful. The nigga tried to dodge questions and all that shit. He wasn't successful, though. Huh? Georgia, pay attention, because you got you don't want no idiot who don't give a damn about Georgia, right? Who don't give a damn about Georgia, right? Representing your state for the next 6 years. And Hershel Walker point out, right? They made son Hershel Walker didn't point out. Every time he say, look, he vote with Joe Biden, I vote with the people of Georgia. They didn't say that. They left that out. Huh? After all this sentence, this is what he do. He break down Raphael what he say. He said, then he stay with his stance is, right? And then he go and say what then he go on and no, he say his stance, right? And then he go and explain his stance, right? And then he go back to the voting shit, which is very fucking smart, right? It's very smart. Keep it in mind. The reason why you in this predicament is because of his voting record. Why he wouldn't go after his voting record?
That he's doing a good job, but his record speaks for itself. I'm here to tell you that they've raised your taxes, gave you high inflation. They even put men in women's sports. And I want to let you know that Raphael Warnock, we give him 6 more years. Think what he's going to do.
Huh? What was so? He wasn't remedial when he said that. He was honest. He was truthful, and he was telling the damn honest guy's truth. Because if you get 6 more years of Raphael Warnock, what you think gonna happen in 6 more years if you already saw what happened in 2?
So I'm here to fix it.
Mr. Walker, thank you. Senator Warnock, we turn now to you for your opening statement. You have 60 seconds.
And what do you think he gonna talk about? We gonna turn for you for your opening statement. He not gonna talk about the people of Georgia. He talk about himself. This is narcissistic, right? People ain't talk about that. Georgia, when Hershel Walker got on there, he's talking about representing the people, right, of Georgia. And what this nigga done. Well, this nigga finna get on here and say, well, what about me? He better talk about himself. This narcissistic, man.
Thank you so very much. And hello, Georgia. It's so wonderful to be back here in my hometown. Now, I know that we're in a debate tonight, but really I come with a deep heart filled with gratitude, probably because I grew up about a mile from here.
Who gives a fuck where you grew up at? I didn't want to let you hear the rest of what he was saying because it was bullshit. I grew up a mile from here. I done this. Who gives a fuck? What's your policies, nigga? Tell your policies, nigga. Strike 1 for Raphael Warnock. Point 1 for Hershel Walker in the opening introduction. You be the judge.
And within 2 years, this inflation has gotten worse. They cut our energy independence. They also raised taxes. And at the same time, they reckless spending all our money.
Right? This something he has a record on. You can't say what Hershel Walker is going to do because he ain't done it. We can say what your ass done because you have a record. You have a voting record of what you done. You can't take all the glory for the shit and you don't want to take none of the fault, right? You want to take all the glory and say, yeah, I done this, but you ain't taking none of the fault. You're not taking none of the responsibility on why we in the recession and why we in the position we in right now.
So he will sit here tonight and say that he's doing a good job for us. And you asked me, what is one job I would do to help the inflation?
See, he got on Warnock. Now he fit get on himself. You asked me what I do. Well, you asked me what I do. What he done with inflation, right? This is what he done with inflation. This is his record on inflation, right? He's not going to get on there and tell you his record and what the inflation done and what his voting done. So I'm finna tell you what he done. Now I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
First of all, we got to become independent, energy independent again. And the reason why, we're going to our enemies to ask for gas and oil. And that puts us not just in a inflation problem, but it puts us in a national security problem.
Huh? What he has 1 minute to do whatever he want to do. He has 1 minute to debunk his story and get off what he need to say about Raphael Warnock. He need to get off what he need to say about his policies and what his position is. And he also got to end it off by telling people and giving people a concept of the difference between me and him. Whoever taught Hershel Walker was very smart, and Hershel Walker was evidently smart enough, right, to outclass, out-educate, and outspeak motherfucking Warnock at this speech.
I think that's something that I think Senator Warnock need to realize. And he mentioned that he grew up here in Savannah with 12 siblings, Well, in this area, most people live paycheck to paycheck. And when you have inflation the way he's brought inflation on, how in the world can you buy grocery or gas for your family?
Especially when you got 12 people up in it, right? Now, Hershel Walker, when people don't talk about this, Hershel Walker was also smart enough in the debate to ad-lib, right? He didn't always go on script. He didn't always go on what somebody wrote for him or something like that, where somebody said, well, he remembered everything. He didn't remember that. That's something Warnock was doing. He's like, well, I have 12 kids. When he was talking about his opening introduction, I live right down the street and I've done this. He didn't talk about Georgia. He talked about his family. Right? So Hershel Walker said, you got 12 fucking kids. You ought to have some empathy and some sympathy for motherfuckers out there can't feed their kid, because you ought to know how I feel, motherfucker.
A follow-up question to that, Mr. Walker. Most economists say that cutting government spending is the first step in economic recovery. I would want to ask you, would you consider cutting military funding or spending on social services to accomplish this goal? And you have 30 seconds.
I would not think about cutting military spending, because first, I believe in peace through strength.
Right? He said he believed in peace through strength, right? Now, they told him, right, to basically choose what you would do, right? Now, I had a debate with somebody, and he said social services, right? Which I knew he was lying. So I was saying, okay, what you're saying is social services saying they're going to run out of money. Social Security and all that shit say they're going to run out of money in 5 years. So you're talking about keep on investing in something that might be here or might not be here or might go bankrupt in a couple of years, instead of investing in something we need. We need the not be in war, the fight a war. You know what I'm saying? The defend off other nations from doing certain shit, right? You rather spend the money on Social Security that might go bankrupt than defending our nation. Right? So that lets you know what your priorities was. What Hershel Walker said his priorities was, right? My priorities was defending the nation, right? Because if we defend the nation, look what we got, look what we doing right now. We had a national defense crisis because of the oil and all this shit because of his voting law. And now, you know what I'm saying, you want to leave us vulnerable by spending on Social Security more than you're spending on the fucking national defense. I'm not with that.
Right now, we're at a brink of war. And I think right now with Senator Warnock, who he and Joe Biden, they don't show any strength. And we have to protect this country. And I said it early on, right now, because we're giving our energy up to our enemies that don't like us, we have to be ready for war. This is not...
Biden is taking off.
We can't be ready for Social Security. We have to be ready for war. Social Security is cool, right? But if North Korea, China, one of these damn terrorists, right, that's always trying to come over here to this country, right, if we don't spend money on national defense, right, what you think gonna happen to this country? So Social Security is cool. Hopefully you can do both. But if you have to make a choice, bye Social Security.
As inflation has reached levels that we haven't seen in 40 years. You've supported nearly every piece of legislation that this administration has pushed through Congress.
You supported every piece of legislation, right, that Congress have pushed through. Every piece, right? Listen to what this dude is saying and listen to what his answer is. You supported every piece. So when somebody say you were voted 97% of the time with Joe Biden, it's just not Hershel Walker saying it. It's the motherfucker that's moderating saying it too. Nigga, it's the truth.
Do you take any responsibility for the financial hardships currently that Georgians are facing? And you have 60 seconds.
Do you face any hardship? Right? He pulled a Barack Obama. I'm going to talk about everything but it, right? He asked Hershel Walker about the inflation, right? Hershel Walker said what happened while we in the situation right we in, what he would do. He ain't got time to run the whole policy down. He got 1 minute. Let's see how he handled. Let's see how Raphael Warnock, the Georgia senator, handled his 1 minute. The preacher.
There's no question that people are feeling pain at the grocery store, at the pump, at pharmacy counters. And while we are paying record prices, a lot of our corporate actors are seeing record profits.
So how you gonna fix it? You blame it, you're doing it Joe Biden. You blaming it on somebody. Is this what you want, Georgia? Is this what you want, Atlanta? Is this what you want, all the other cities out there? Is this the nigga you want who can't even answer a question on how you gonna fix it?
In the oil and gas industry and the pharmaceutical industry, which is why I've stood up for ordinary, hardworking Georgia thinks they should have expensive. We passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which had two of my provisions. One, caps the cost of prescription drugs for seniors.
Okay, listen, Georgia, right? He said he capped he fixed the cap on prescription drugs. How many niggas you niggas on prescription drugs? And I'm not talking about syrup, huh? How many niggas you know is wandering around talking about, oh, this diabetes medicine cut is really gonna help my pocket. Oh, this hearing aid shit is really gonna help my pocket. Oh, this high blood pressure medicine case and cut is really gonna help my pockets. How many niggas you know saying that? Huh? Listen, Georgia, that's not for you. That's for that's for the corporate. That's for all the Democrats, right? That's for that socialist agenda shit, total control, government control. I want this. He ain't talking about helping. He's talking about what I've done. What you've done is fucked up the country. What you're saying is exactly what Hershel Walker said you done to fuck up the country. Now you repeating exactly what Hershel Walker said. Well, the bills you passed is fucking up the country, is adding to inflation, is adding this. You gonna get on there and brag about the same bills he just talked about. That's stupid.
So they don't have to choose between buying medicine and buying groceries. And one caps the cost of insulin. He said he would not have voted for the Inflation Reduction Act, and I think he should tell the people of Georgia why he thinks they should have expensive insulin and why the—
And you see how he twists that, Georgia? He said he would not vote for the Inflation Reduction Act. No, I mean he tried to say, he would the cap is going down on insulin and insulin this, right? And then he talking about insulin. Then he tried to say, well, he won't vote for the Reduction Act. It's lots of other shit in the Reduction Act. Don't try to say he won't vote for the cap on the insulation. You're trying to say he won't vote for the bill. Of course I won't vote for the bill. But something with the cap on insulation is different. You see how he tried to twist that up? Well, he said this. No, he did not. He did not. I will. It's lots of people will have. It's lots of things in the Inflation Act, right, that Republicans probably will vote for, but not as a whole package. So don't try to twist his word. Well, you want people to die and you want insulin to go up because you won't vote for the Inflation Act. No. Semantics.
The pharmaceutical companies should be able to charge us whatever they like.
Well, first of all, may I respond?
Let him respond. Watch how Hershel Walker respond, right? And this is not rehearsed. This is not something somebody wrote. He did not know Raphael Warnock was going to say that, but he was prepared because guess what? He's smarter than Raphael Warnock.
You know, I believe in reducing insulin, but at the same time, you got to eat right.
Huh? You got to eat right. My mother was diabetic. When you don't eat right, you have certain sugar reactions. You have certain things. You got to be on a special diet. And how high food is right now, right? How high food is? How can somebody that's diabetic and supposed to be on the right diet even afford the food to even worry about their health? Before they even take the medication. You can take all the medication you want, but if you don't have the proper diet, your ass is going to die. Trust that and believe that. It's plenty people on insulin ain't got the proper diet, and their ass is dying. right? So Hershel Walker hit him with a fact that probably Raphael Warnock wasn't ready for. This is something he ain't talking about. You got a lower price of food, and because of your motherfucking voting record and because of the Inflation Act, food is high. So the same people you're talking about insulin, they not eating right.
Because he may not know, and I know many people that's on insulin, and unless you have eating right, insulin is doing you no good. So you have to get food prices down, and you got to get gas down so they can go get insulin. And you continue to pat yourself on the back, but right now, families are starving. Right now, families are hurting.
And you talking about a reduction bill, right? That nobody saw no parts of, and you talking about people are gonna save money, they're gonna do this. In 3 years, that's when the economists say possibly, right? You keep on talking about the things are getting built, the things are in work, the things are in contracts, right? These things you talk about ain't gonna happen for 10 more years on some of these things, right? Like he said, people are starving right now. What are you doing for people right now? You have no answer for that. What are you doing for the person who you talking about? You lower their prescription drug and it ain't gonna happen to next year some fucking time, right? And they hungry right now. What do you say to them Georgians? Why are you not talking to them people? You're not talking to the Georgia as a whole. You're not talking about everybody as a whole. You're talking about prescription drugs. He's talking about food and fucking gas. You're talking about prescription drugs.
Hurting because of the bills and the laws you're passing right now. We need people that's going to stand up for people in Georgia. Because Senator Warnock, he went to Washington, but he forgot about Georgia. And
Randy K! What's up, Randy K? My boy Randy K. Hey, Randy K, Randy K, I was thinking about, I promise you, I'm going to call you tomorrow. I was thinking about calling you today, Randy K. Let me call my boy Randy K. Randy K, I got to call you tomorrow, or you better call me. And Tom, too. Tom ain't call me in a minute and talk shit, too. Tom, you better call me tomorrow. No texting. Y'all better call me. Tom and Randy, I need a phone call tomorrow to talk shit for a couple of minutes.
I want to stand for the people of Georgia. He just mentioned he's standing for the people of Georgia, but can he tell me why he voted with Joe Biden 96% of the time if he was standing for Georgia?
Huh? Do you hear that? Georgia is not voting 97% with Joe Biden, right? They're not voting for that, right? So the difference is, what Hershel Walker is saying is, I'm voting with Georgia. This nigga is voting with Joe Biden. It's a difference. Look at his voting record. You can't say you're not voting with Joe Biden. You don't hang with Joe Biden, and you got a 97% voting record with Joe Biden. These are facts. These people are hurting because if you blame Joe Biden and the economy is this and everybody knows this, your ass is at fault too because you voted for it. These bills wouldn't have got passed if your ass wouldn't have voted for it.
That tells you that he's for Joe Biden, I'm for Georgia.
Huh? What that tell you? I'm going with Georgia. Every time he say is like, well, you said this. No, that's not what I want. That's what the people of Georgia want. Hershel played this good.
Okay, thank you. Now, before we move on, gentlemen,
I'd like to respond to that.
I will give you that opportunity, sir. I will give you that opportunity, Senator. You have 15 seconds to respond.
It is very clear that my opponent would rather be running against anybody except me.
Huh? No, he has to run on your record. He has to run in your record. So when you say my opponent wants to be running against anybody but me, that's false. Because every time, and look, if you look at it's a stat, you can Google it if you want to, right? 90% of the Democrats who got voted in, right, in 2016 had an anti-Trump agenda. All right, or said their opponent had a Trump agenda, right? On the other side, 90% of the people who got voted in as a Republican had a Trump agenda. So you think about this. So it was cool when it was Donald Trump. Everybody saying, well, you can't have Donald Trump and this person Donald Trump and his record, and look at he voted with Donald Trump. But soon as when somebody do it on them, right, it's a big problem. You have to go with your voting record. You have to ride with the horse who you came in on, right? You can't say, I voted with him and him and him, and then when you get to a debate, you separate yourself from your record. No, it don't happen like that, man.
But
I'm
either
happy
me,
to run
there
against
are only
him.
two people who are gonna sit in this seat, either me or my opponent. And I think this race is about who's ready to represent the people of Georgia, and I'm thinking about them every single day.
But if he cut from the same cloth at 96% of the time, I'm running he and Joe Biden because they're the same.
Huh? I'm running him and Joe Biden. What else am I going to compare you to? I can't compare you to no single voting record. Everything you pass and everything is fucking up this country, you added to it. So don't separate yourself from it now. You cut from the same cloth, nigga.
All right, Buck, thank you. Senator Warnock, this question is for you. You have said the new Georgia voting laws implemented after the 2020 election create many obstacles for underserved communities. Yet there was record turnout in Georgia in the primary this May. According to research done by the Brennan Center for Justice, the African American vote grew approximately 50% from 2018 to 2022.
So all that shit they was running around talking about, right, was a fucking lie. All the shit they were running around talking about raising all this money for was a lie. All these rallies, all these marches, all the shit they had these black people up talking about these, they're trying to steal the democracy was a lie. These are some good narrators or whatever, moderators, right? These are some good moderators because they being fair, right? Right? They brought out some dirt. You said this in Georgia. You are the senator of Georgia, right? And you sat up here, you and Stacey Abrams sat up here and lied to the people. Both of you sons of bitches. Sat up here and lied to the people in their face, right? And now you're not even going to be man enough to cover it up and say, you know what, I was wrong, right? Georgia, right? You know what this nigga said? Gonna say, Georgia? Oh, the people overcame that obstacle. What, they went and got IDs? This is his best thing. Oh, the people overcame that obstacle. It wasn't that it was unfair. The people overcame the obstacle. I didn't hear no people complaining. Voting shit went up by 50%. Wasn't nobody complaining about I couldn't vote or it was difficult to vote. No, nobody complained. But instead of saying you was wrong, you make up an excuse. Oh, the people fixed it. So if people found out what a DMV was and got IDs, huh?
Primaries. Senator, can you explain how the law negatively impacts minority votes? You have 60 seconds, sir.
So I have spent my whole career long before coming to the Senate fighting for voting rights because I believe that a vote is a kind of prayer for the world we desire for ourselves and for our children. We register people to vote in my church.
Okay, look. Another thing his dude keep on saying, right? He keep on bringing up his church. My church. We register people at my church. That's another thing. She didn't ask you about that. She asked you, right? You said the voting record was wrong. What do you say about it when all these black people register to vote? That's the question.
There is no question that SB 202 makes voting harder, and that is the intent. And the fact that many of our voters are overcoming this hardship doesn't undermine that reality. They've made it harder for folks to use the drop boxes. They've shortened the registration times. Folks are saying, you shouldn't have to, you should be able to get food or water in a line. I think the question is more fundamental than that.
That's the best you can come up with? Right? I didn't hear nobody complain about no drop box. I ain't heard nobody complain about no line. I ain't heard nobody complain about no water. They think, well, such and such is such racist. I believe they moved. Oh, who was that? Tom, you're looking out. Everyone is allowed to donate. Exactly. Everyone is allowed to donate. Huh? Be like Tom and donate $1, $2. It's all good, right? But this is what they're saying, right? You can vote, right? But it's gonna be harder for you to vote. No, it's not. Nobody complained. But if it was harder to vote, it would be less people voting. It would be less people giving up and say, fuck it. They made it easier to vote. Once you make it easier to vote, guess what? More people vote.
Why are the lines so long in certain communities and not others? And so I just want to encourage Georgia voters to keep showing up. Don't let anybody take your voice. Don't let anybody take your vote.
How they take their vote when there's more people voting? I'm just telling people to show up. Why is the lines longer? This the best you can come up? Georgia, is this the best person you can get to represent you? Why is the line so long? Why people can't have water? She didn't ask you that. She didn't ask you about no fucking water. She didn't ask you about no fucking drop boxes. She asked you, why was it that the law that you said was gonna mess up the democracy, and you was running around talking about all this voter right? Why did not work? What happened? Well, people overcame it.
Took too much to get here, and I'm honored to represent you in the United States Senate.
Senator Warnock, thank you. Mr. Walker, we move to you now. In 2020, Georgia became the epicenter for questions on voter fraud. We'd like to hear your thoughts in 60 seconds. Did President Biden defeat former President Donald Trump in 2020? Again, sir, you have 60 seconds.
Look. Now he finna watch he do three things, right? He gonna respond something Warnock was not ready for, because Warnock kept on. Well, can I have say something about that? He kept on. He was on the defense. Hershel Walker was like, first of all, let me say something. He broke down his shit, then said his shit, and then went on the voting record, right? First of all, he hit him with straight facts. First of all, let me tell him something. And then he gave it the coldest line about voting rights. Some of the smartest shit that I ever heard in my life.
First of all, I need to mention that he said that SB 202, really it made it easier to vote and harder to cheat. And she mentioned that more people turned out for the primary. So you gotten good at in Washington not answering that question.
Huh? Hershel, you see how Hershel Walker pointed that out? You heard what she said. She didn't ask nothing you have to talk. She didn't talk about no drop boxes, and she talked about the bill and all those shit. And this is what you came up with, right? Is this the best you can do, Georgia? Huh? Is this who you gonna get to represent you, Georgia? A band you said can't even beat a fucking idiot, because plenty of people said Hershel Walker's an idiot. He can't talk. Wait a minute, he's schooling this dude. First of all, you said this, and she asked, why are you avoiding the question? Right? You know what? She asked me a question. I'm not going to avoid the question. I'm going to give it to you raw and uncut.
Because that was the question she asked you. And did President Biden win?
That is the question.
President Biden won, and Senator Warnock won. That's the reason I decided to run.
Huh? Huh? President Biden won. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. Oh, did you feel that he got? No, don't ask me that. President Biden won and Warnock won. That's why I decided to run. You see how he answered that? Simple and to the point. It wasn't nowhere. The drop boxes and we're going around here and the IDs and people overcame it, and people. I'm going to represent Atlanta, and I want to represent Georgia, and I want to put me in the Senate box. No, that's not the question she asked. Right? She asked him a whole different question. He answered it. Did he won? Did you think it was this? Did you know? This is what I think. Joe Biden won and Warnock won. That's why I'm running. Now, for the rest of my minute, I can say what the fuck I want to say, because I now got about 20 more seconds, right? Because I already debunked his shit. I gave my short and simple answer. Now the rest of my 20 seconds, guess what? It's on his record.
To the topic of abortion, we're going to start with you, Mr. Walker. A week before this debate, a former girlfriend made public accusations saying you paid for an abortion and that you encouraged her to have another. In an ABC News interview this week, you said that the accusations are, quote, all lies. For the voters watching tonight, can you explain the circumstances surrounding these claims? You have 60 seconds.
Right? And watch how Hershel Walker, man enough to say, hey, take responsibility. If he says a false story, he says a false story. He get it over with. He don't give no explanation, no long drawn out. Well, you know, and what happens is, and I done this, and no, he don't give all of that. He tell you the real, whether you like it or you don't like it. This is who you need to represent you, Georgia. Somebody with a fucking backbone.
As I said, that's a lie. And you know, what most thing I put it in a book. One thing about my life is I've been very transparent. Not like the senator. He's hid things.
Huh? The first part, break him down. Not like the senator. He hid things. Huh? And we already know what he hid. Now I'm finna get on me.
Abortion, I'm a Christian. I believe in life. And I tell people this, Georgia is a state that respects life, and I'll be a senator that protects life.
Huh? Did you hear that? Georgia is a state that respects life. That's what they voted on. That's what the census say. Not everyone respects life, but the majority of the people respects life in Georgia, right? So I'm voting with the people of Georgia. Did you hear what he said? He broke his shit down. He hide shit, right? I broke my shit. I'm pro-life. I don't need to explain anymore. That's plain and simple. I'm pro-life. So you know why I stand with it. I don't need to give out no, I'm pro-life because of this. No, I'm pro-life. Boom. That's the answer. You may not like the answer. You may want a longer answer, but that's not how you debate, right? I debunked his shit. I'm finna give you my stance. Now I got 20 fucking free seconds to say what the fuck I want.
And I said that was a lie, and I'm not backing down. And when you have Senator Warnock, people that would do anything and say anything for this seat, but I'm not going to back down because this seat is too important to the Georgia people for me to back down right now.
Huh? So he can, in his last 20 seconds, he can say anything he wants to. He already gave his answer. I'm pro-life. What your stand with this? Well, everybody know about abortion. I'm pro-life. Huh? Enough said. What more do I need to say? Okay, now let's get on why this seat is important. This motherfucker will say anything, right? Who is this? Warnock don't have the time to get on Hershel Walker like that, right? Because he's busy spending too much time in his whole minute explaining himself.
You've been vocally pro-life, supporting a ban on abortions without exceptions. Would you support a complete ban on a national level?
Well, first of all, see, that's not true either. I said I support the heartbeat bill. And I say I support the Georgia heartbeat bill because that's the bill of the people.
Huh? Well, that's not true. I support what the people support. Ask Raphael Warnock what he support. Who was that? Tanya, thanks for the donation. Huh? Good looking out, Tanya. Right? But he's saying, well, look, I've got my stance, right? This is where I stand. I stand where Georgia stand. Georgia believe in life, but Georgia believe in a heartbeat bill. I believe in a heartbeat bill. So I ride with Georgia. What he rides with is a little something else, right? So he already gave his answer, right? Now he got the rest of the time, which is smart, he can use the debunking and fucking off his character. This is smart.
From Governor Kemp. And I said, that has exceptions in it. I said, I'm a Christian, but I'm also representing the people of Georgia, and that's who I represent. So what the people of Georgia stand for, I'm going to stand with them.
Huh? I'm going to stand with the people of Georgia. Ask him, was he standing with the people of Georgia on the abortion bill? Ask him, do he defend the right to life bill and the heartbeat bill and all that shit? No. Right? Governor Kemp do. Georgia do. But this nigga don't.
A follow-up question for you, Senator Warnock. We asked that you take a listen to something that you said at a rally just a couple of weeks ago.
So women, I trust women in their wisdom and their ability to sit with their own doctor. That's right. And if they choose to sit with their pastor.
Wait a minute. To choose to sit with a doctor or a pastor, you say you don't want government inside of the hospital room, but you want the pastor inside of there? And that's political too. You can sit with the doctor or the pastor. Him. Do you hear what he's saying? You can sit with the doctor or your pastor. The pastor is fucking me to help you make a decision about killing a baby.
And to pray about that and let their own conscience guide them. Even God gave us a choice.
Even God gave us a choice. Can you clarify what you meant by that? You have 30 seconds.
Oh, I think it's self-explanatory. God gave us a choice. And I respect the right of women to make a decision. These are medical decisions. They are deeply personal. Women find themselves in a range of circumstances. And this issue has been far too politicized And we're witnessing right now the chaos that ensues as a result of that. And women right now who may be facing a miscarriage in some cases are wondering what will happen and how will they have to explain that. I think that's deeply problematic. There are enough politicians piling into the rooms of patients, and I don't plan to join them.
Now, Georgia, right now, I don't care if you pro-life, anti-life, don't give a fuck about life, right? Invisible life. Do you accept that answer he just gave you? He just said a bunch of word salad. Well, I believe that it's up to the woman, and the woman has the right, and the doctor, and God has a choice, and God made a decision, and God didn't. No, that's not answering the question. Now, if you want somebody to represent you, right, you want somebody that's more direct, right, more honest, and give you his opinion, right? And that's Hershel Walker. You heard Warnock answer. You see, he didn't have time to even say, well, my opponent, right, or anything like that. No, he too busy explaining. Now, watch Hershel Walker. A quick answer, and he got 15, 30 seconds to do what the fuck he want to do. The difference.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Senator Warnock, you've said repeatedly that the exam room is too small for the patient, her doctor, and the U.S. government. We're asking you to take a clear position right now. Do you believe there should be any limitations on abortion set by the government? And you have 60 seconds.
Right? You can give this nigga 3 days and he can't explain it. Right? Do you think it's any limitation, right? Now, that should, now, to me, that would be a yes or no question, right? I would say yes. This is my reason why, right? This is my reason why I have this stance. And this is my opponent's stance. The reason why we are different, right? You're supposed to say all that when somebody answers you, right? But he spent too much time talking about nothing and not giving an answer. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Give the answer. What are you talking about? My stand. No, what is your stance, man? Do you believe in late-term abortion or not? Look at his answer.
I think that the women of this country and the women of this state woke up one summer morning and a core protection that they've known for 50 years was taken from them by an extremist Supreme Court.
Okay, what did I got? Georgia, did you listen to this? If you're in Georgia, is you listening to this? Is you listening? He asked them, do you have any limitations on birth? 9 months is what they're talking about. What the fuck is he talking about, Georgia?
And women right now who may be facing a miscarriage in some cases are wondering what will happen and how will they have to explain that. I think that's deeply problematic. There are enough politicians piling into the rooms of patients.
Right? How would they have to explain a miscarriage? There's too many players. How would they explain a miscarriage? What do you mean, how would they explain a miscarriage? They explain it to a doctor.
And I don't plan to join them.
But just to clarify, in your opinion, God gave us a choice in regards to abortion.
It is apparent that God has given us a range of choices.
What range of choices? It's 2 options. He said, look, Georgia, if somebody Google me 3 options to birth, right? Besides birth and death, right? I will quit my YouTube channel and I would turn liberal. He said God gave us a range of options. What options did he give us? What God didn't say abort the baby. Not in the Bible. If you believe in God and you believe in church, there's no part in the Bible where he say abort the baby. Kill the baby. Right? So this nigga getting up here talking about God gave us a range of options. Since when? He gave us other options besides life. Lying son of a bitch. And he's a preacher. Right? Look. That's why, look. That's why, wait, we're going to take a small commercial break, right? We're going to take a small commercial break. We'll see where we at, right? This is why I want to say, right? This is why, right, when they told me to say, man, you need to make a skit about God as a chosen. We're going to do about a 3-minute commercial break right quick. We're going to do about a 3-minute commercial break right quick, right? They say, God is the chosen, all this old stuff, right? Where we at? We right here, right? Is it right here? Is it this one? Is it this one? Let me see. Is it this one? Let me see. Is it this one? We're going to take a small break right now, and we finna get religious up in here, right? For those who new to the channel, right? Those who new to the channel. We will take a small break. We will take a small religious break, right? Because if you believe, right, if you believe in the Lord, right, like Raphael Warnock said he believed, right? You believe in prophecies, right? You believe that Donald Trump was sent by the Lord. You know what I'm saying? That if you believe in the Lord, who is that sending me a donation? The master of violence. Keep donations coming so I can get my skit shout out. It's a golden age of comedy and skits. Let's go. Well, you're gonna be happy about this because for your donation, you get a word name up in here, right? We're gonna take a small 3-minute break right quick and talk about how Donald Trump is it was sent by the Lord. Hold on. He was sent by the Lord. You ask. Hold on. Here we go right here. You got your shout out. What was that? The Master of Violence. You going in this skit right here, Master of Violence. It's going up tomorrow, right? It's going on Patreon in the morning, but it's going on after the football games tomorrow. Ask for it. So here you go. Do you believe in prophecies? Well, I believe in prophecies, and I think Donald Trump was sent by the Lord.
God sent his messenger, a man named John, who came to tell people about the light.
The rise of Donald J. Trump from television star to become the most powerful man in the world was a story that not even the most creative reality show producer could ever have imagined.
Well, have you ever watched The Simpsons?
Fade, 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 fade.
They predicted Trump would be the president like the prophets did.
So that all should hear the message and believe.
Believe in Donald Trump because The Simpsons said it. Now, would The Simpsons lie to you?
I'm right behind him. Not supposed to stare at it directly, but I can't help it. If I touch it, will it heal my baldness?
Homer Simpson say Donald Trump hair heal, but we all know who the ultimate healer is.
He himself was not the light. He came to tell about the light.
Like the Simpsons came and told you about the light.
Oh, it's so wispy. It's a gravity-defying comb-over.
And it has healing power too. Next! You know, John Obama came before Donald Trump.
Restricted, by the way, to Mr. Trump. I mean, I find it interesting that everybody's focused on Trump primarily just because he says in more interesting ways what the other candidates are saying as well.
If this was the Bible, Barack Obama would be John the liar.
I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
And a damn fool.
And the reason is because I have a lot of faith in the American people.
But we have faith in God.
And I think they recognize that being president is a serious job. It's not hosting a talk show or a reality show.
It's about God, family, and country. Next!
I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
You cannot sit back and wait for a savior.
Why not? We waited for Jesus.
He came to his own country, but his own people did not receive him.
Donald Trump was controversial from the off. No one gave him a chance.
Including his own people, just like Jesus.
Here's the bottom line fact. The vast and overwhelming majority of Republicans do not want Donald Trump to be our nominee.
I like Donald. He is an amazing entertainer. but his policies for most of his life.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And that's evidenced by the fact that your own poll last week showed that if it came down to me and Donald Trump, I beat him by almost 16 points.
For most of his life, his policies have been very, very liberal. For most of his life, he has described himself as very pro-choice and as a supporter of partial birth abortion.
So what we have now is a dynamic where as long as there are 4 people running, dividing up the non-Trump vote, you're going to get results like what you saw last night. And so the sooner we can get this race narrowed down, I think the easier it's going to be to stop Donald Trump
But
and
in
defeat
point
him.
of
Now,
fact,
that
some
said,
candidates
taking
have
him
dropped
on-
out. Sorry to interrupt, but some candidates have dropped out.
Right now, today, as a candidate, he supports federal taxpayer funding for Planned Parenthood. I disagree with him on that. That's a matter of principle, and I'll tell you.
Biggest liar. You probably are worse than Jeb Bush.
And actually, what we've seen is Donald Trump grow his numbers. I know you say Nevada is an outlier, but he got 46% of the vote last night.
Wasn't Jesus Christ persecuted by his people too?
Well, there have now been these 4 Republican contests. Donald Trump has won 3 of them. We've seen the race, the field of candidates narrow, and yet this dynamic seems to be the same. You've got you and Ted Cruz and some of the other candidates fighting each other, and Trump sailing to victory.
You can now add, get this, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham to the list of Republicans who will not, repeat, not back Donald Trump by the party's presumptive presidential nominee.
A lot of Republicans asking this morning, why not take on Trump directly? What's your answer to that?
Here's the statement just released by Senator Graham. Let me read it to you. It says he cannot, in good conscience, support Donald Trump because I do not believe he is a reliable Republican conservative, nor has he displayed the judgment and temperament to serve as commander in chief.
But just like Jesus and Donald Trump, the Republicans saw the light.
He vowed to make America great again and didn't care how he achieved it.
And whose feelings is hurt in the process.
Let me talk. Quiet.
How
A
tough
lot
is
of
it?
times.
Wait, what y'all born for?
What y'all booing for? We're gonna get. That's gonna be a good skit, right? Y'all wanted it, I had to give it to you. You wanted the skit, I had to give it to you, right? The comparison of Jesus, right, and Donald Trump. I'm gonna put that skit up tomorrow, right? I get a couple of more donations. That skit is going up tomorrow. That skit will be hilarious. That skit will be hilarious. That skit will be hilarious. Let's get back into Herschel Walker tearing up Raphael Warnock ass, right? On abortions, right? On abortions. Because if you pro-life, right, and you care about the blessings was isn't in the Bible, God's greatest gift to the earth, the most innocent, right? Why would you preach against that? There's no reason for you to preach against that. That's against what the Lord has said. You can't go against God. Anybody who wins against God, right? God is undefeated, right? You can. Oh, my bad. I done the wrong thing. God, I went the wrong one. God is undefeated. I meant to do this one. Where we at? Yeah, God is undefeated, right? I haven't known nobody in the world, right, in the history of the world that ever defeated God. Many have tried, but all have failed, right? Now, you getting up here talking about you a preacher and you going against God's word. Since when they do that? And where they do that at? Right? So we finna get back into how Herschel Walker is destroying Raphael Warnock. Right? The baby killer. We can call Raphael Warnock the baby killer if you wanted to.
Create many obstacles for underserved communities.
Wait, we ain't that far. We can call Raphael the baby killer. Raphael Warnock.
With Joe Biden, 96%.
Wait, where we at?
Two people who are gonna sit in this seat.
Raphael Warnock, the baby killer.
For the world we desire for ourselves and for our children. We register people to vote in my church.
We register people vote in my
Mr. Walker, a week before this debate, a former girlfriend
Sir, you have 60 seconds.
Well, first of all, I need to mention that he said that SB 202.
Are we past this
really,
far? Where the hell I'm at?
Former girlfriend made public accusations.
And she mentioned that more people turned out for the primary.
Oh, right here then.
Won. That's the reason I decided to run.
Turn now to the topic of abortion. We're going to start with you, Mr. Walker.
Abortion!
Before this debate, a former girlfriend made public accusations saying you paid for an abortion and that you encouraged her to have another. In an ABC News interview this week, you said that the accusations are, quote, all lies. For the voters watching tonight, can you explain the circumstances surrounding these claims? You have 60 seconds.
Well, as I said, that's a lie. And, you know, what most thing I put it in a book. One thing about my life is I've been very transparent, not like the senator. He's hid things. And on abortion, you know, I'm a Christian. I believe in life. And I tell people this, Georgia is a state that respects life, and I'll be a senator that protects life. And I said that was a lie, and I'm not backing down. And when you have Senator Warnock, people that would do anything and say anything for this seat, but I'm not going to back down because this seat is too important to the Georgia people for me to back down right now.
You've been vocally pro-life, supporting a ban on abortions without exceptions. Would you support a complete ban on a national level?
Well, first of all, see, that's not true.
We're past this.
Georgia.
Past this.
So women, I trust.
Weeks ago.
I trust you, women. Who trust me past this?
Decisions. They are deeply personal. Women find themselves in a range of circumstances.
This who y'all want, Georgia?
As a result of that, and women right now who may be facing a miscarriage in some cases are wondering what will happen and how will they have to explain.
Right, go get to the
Said
part.
repeatedly that the exam room is too small for the patient, her doctor, and the U.S. government. We're asking you to take a clear position right now. Do you believe there should be any limitations on abortion set by the government? And you have 60 seconds.
I think that the women of this country and the women of this state.
You don't answer.
And I don't plan to join them.
But just to clarify, in your opinion, God gave us a choice in regards to abortion.
It is apparent that God has given us a range of choices.
And he don't know none of them.
Read the Bible more.
Oh, here you go. Here you go, right here.
God gave us a choice. But also within the Bible, if you read the Bible more, God said, choose life. In the Bible, it says, I give you a choice. Just like Adam and Eve had a choice.
Look at Raphael Warnock, like, this nigga over here schooling me about the Bible and not the preacher. Look at him, like, I don't know what to say. This nigga is right. This nigga is right. He's like, if you read the Bible more, nigga, because evidently you don't read the Bible. If you read the Bible more, this is what it says, idiot. You know what, this nigga is right. you see what I'm saying? Right? He attacked him, right? He gave his point, right? And then he had room to say other shit. It's not that Hershel Walker was talking and going in circles. He had so much room to have free shit. He ran out of shit to talk about because he gave his answers to the point, correct, follow form, and done exactly what he's supposed to do, right? He didn't have time to be worrying about no other shit. He done the smart shit, short and simple.
They chose death. You know, it is, and I heard about him. That I heard he was a neat talker. But did he not mention that there was a baby in that room as well? And also, did he not mention that he asking the taxpayer to pay for it? So he's bringing the government back into the room. So he's not talking about that. So when he mentioned that, it's like I've not seen too many pastors that would say that statement.
Did you hear that? You talk about taking the government out of the room, then you put them back in the room with all your policies and all your mandates and all this old shit. So which one is it? You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't say you're taking the government out, then you want to put them back in, and then you the main motherfucker talking about, well, the pastor was in the room with him, right? But look at this nigga come back. Huh? Georgia, this who you want to represent you? Look at this nigga come back.
I'll give you a chance to rebut.
I am a pastor.
Very quick rebuttal, very quick. Mr. Walker, we need to move forward.
I think he wants to arrogate to politicians more power than God has.
I have to respond to this.
Very quick.
Because he told me Black Lives Matter. And if you think about it, Senator, in Atlanta, Georgia, there's more black baby that is aborted than anything. So if,
you got tongue twisted right there. What's up, Vanessa? Thanks. You should shout out. Thanks for the shout out, Pedro. Thank you for Vanessa, for the love, right? But you hear what he said more than anything, right? But this is a true fact, right? If you saying Black Lives Matter, why you not speaking up for the black lives that's being assassinated basically before they're born, been taken before they're born, right? Right? If you say Black Lives Matter, more babies are being aborted. So how can you say that? As a pastor, Hershel Walker hitting him with some shit he can't even answer.
Anything. So if Black Lives Matter, why are you not protecting those babies? And instead of aborting those babies, why are you not baptizing those babies?
All right, gentlemen.
Huh? Instead of aborting the babies, why are you not baptizing the baby? He don't have no response for that. We got to get on with it, right? Hershel Walker hit him with something, and then knew he had to go into the next question, so he didn't have enough chance to respond. So the last thing in people's head is, you're supposed to be baptizing these babies. Whoa. Huh? Warnock didn't have a chance, Vanessa, because he's too busy trying to explain his position. You know what happens is, and the woman and the woman in the hospital and the doctor and the government and all this old shit, huh? Hershel walking to say that. Who do you want, Georgia? Vanessa, tell him who to pick.
Thank you. We're going to have to move on to our next topic, okay? Tina?
Okay. We are moving on, gentlemen, on the next topic, and it is about student loans.
I ran into a couple on a flight, and they wrote a note for me. They were with their 1-year-old son.
Right? They're asking about student debt, right? They asked him, what would you do to solve student debt? I was going to make a skit out. That's why it's edited like this. I didn't put too many questions up in there. But they asked him about student debt. This nigga talking about, before he said it, he talked about student debt. He talked about himself, right? Well, people like me, right? I signed an executive order for people like me that has these loans. And when I was on an airplane, what the fuck an airplane got to do with what you're going to do with student loan? This nigga want to tell a story. Fuck a story. What are you going to do?
They said, whatever you do, please do something about this student debt. The mother said, I borrowed $35,000. I paid back $20,000. I still owe $30,000. And that's why I pushed the president to do student debt relief. He did $10,000, and with my urging, he did $20,000 for folks with Pell Grants. I think it was the right move.
And then just last week, all them 20,000 with the Pell Grant got kicked the fuck off. 70,000 people when you say, well, I got all these people well, 70,000 of them motherfuckers got kicked the hell off. Google it. So that Pell Grant shit didn't really work.
It will spur entrepreneurship, home ownership. It helps kids in technical schools and vocational schools, not just four-year colleges. But we need reform. We shouldn't be doing this again 10 years from now. And I'm working right now on the kind of reform we need, because college is outpacing the price of everything else in our economy.
Once again,
sir, why do you believe?
Once again, he didn't answer the question. That's why they got to do follow-up, because he's not answering the questions. This who you want, Georgia?
This should be done through executive action instead of Congress.
The only reason why, what was that? D. Peterson. The only reason why Warnock is a pastor is so he can take the people money while avoiding taxes. You're damn right. The only reason he a pastor, he has no intelligence. He has no kind of intellect, right? He's a puppet. You can tell by the way he answering these questions, right? He's a puppet. He's taking the church's money. I ought to play that part on the Jesus skit when Donald Trump was, and Jesus was going crazy over the church's money. I ought to play that part on the damn skit.
And also, how would this be funded? You have 30 seconds.
First of all, you can see that Senator Warnock has gotten good at being in Washington, because you asked the question, why did Congress not do it instead of the president doing an executive order?
Right. And that was the question, right? They asked that was the question, right? And he got on to, about talking about a woman on an airplane and all kind of shit, right? He didn't say nothing about that, right? So Hershel Walker wanted to correct him, right? Okay, well, you asked about this. Hershel Walker kept on saying this. Well, you didn't ask about this. You actually asked about this. He didn't want to answer it, right? Well, I'm finna answer it, right? This is what's going on. You got somebody avoiding every fucking question, right? And Herschel Walker pointed out, right? The moderator keep on got to ask them follow-up questions, right? But Herschel Walker like, well, this nigga don't answer questions. I will answer it. Give it to me. I have a backbone. Give it to me. I'll answer it. Ooh, I got my hand up. Give it to me. I'll answer it.
Which is what should have been done. And as I was traveling around the state of Georgia, I talked to people. Some people wanted to go to college, they couldn't. So they ended up going and working on father's farm. Some military wanted to go to college, they didn't. So he went to the military, may have lost an arm. So this is not right.
You see how he switched it up, right? He's told the story first, so he gave his story, right? But when he gave his story, he didn't like, I tried to go get a little girl on the plane and she wrote me a note and no, I talked to soldiers with missing limbs, the working people, the farmers. This nigga talk about I was on a plane and a little girl slipped me a note and the mother said I spent $30,000 and I just took out a loan for $30,000. Well, this nigga talking about people who live in day to day, check to check. You talking about a lady who just talking about 65,000 and 70,000, and these people ain't got that type of money. They not making that type of money in a year. And you sitting up there talking about a note of a lady that just talking about she just took out $65,000 for a home for education. That's not nothing to brag about. What Herschel Walker said, I went and talked to the people of Georgia, and they said it's not right. You're trying to make an excuse on how it is right. That's not what the people of Georgia want.
Georgia people say it's not right, they said it's unfair. First of all, how can you transfer someone debt who owe it to someone that don't owe it? And also, Senator Warnock brags about making $400 billion that now the taxpayer, all you in the audience, got to pay for. You got to pay that debt. And I didn't co-sign for anyone's loan. I hope no one out here co-signed for anyone's loan, because I didn't co-sign for anyone's loan. And it's not right. It's not fair.
I'm going to...
Huh? He gave the whole thing. You may not like his answer, right? But the answer was, how can Congress done it, right? He said it's not right, it's not legal, you know what I'm saying? And shit like that. You're supposed to be passed through Congress. You didn't answer the question, man.
Give you this one. I'm going to give you a pass for 15 seconds.
I will be very brief, I promise.
Very brief.
You're looking out, Randy K.
It's interesting to me that folks who have been crying about the student debt relief haven't said anything about multi-billionaire corporate entities who've gotten PPP loans. I wonder why Mr.
We're going to move on. We're moving on. Thank you. Thank you, Senator Warnock. Your time is up.
According to the...
Did you hear that? He's like, look, I wonder why the Democrats always get on there and say, well, I always worry about why people who got, don't say nothing about people who got the PPE loans, don't say nothing about student debt, or they don't say who got student debt loans, don't say nothing about the PPE loans, right? For the simple fact, right, you can't compare the fucking two. For one, you voted for the PPE loans, and for two, you got the PPE loans, right? So in technicality, like people like you and AOC going to get PPE loans and student debt relief. Think about it, motherfucker. You got hit with a double whammy. So you talking about student debt and you talking about PPE loans, right? You're fighting for one, and you're downgrading the other thing that you voted on in Congress, and that you got one, right? You took advantage of both of them, because you ain't gonna pay your student debt loan over here, and then you're getting more money over there. Yes, the Democrats. But they want to quick to talk about, well, why people talk about student debt, they don't talk about PPE loans. Nigga, you got one.
U.S. Census Bureau, 14% of Georgians live in poverty. The federal minimum wage is $7.25 an hour, a number that has not increased since 2009. Let's do this by a simple showing of hands. Raise your hand if you support a federal minimum wage.
Well, when you say a federal, I think right now, and he said that I want the federal government. No, he wants the federal government to run your life. Right now, I think you have to work with different corporations and see just where they can pay. There are some companies right now, and he should know this, after getting the All-Star game moved out of Atlanta.
Look, did you hear that? Did you hear what he said? You may not like his answer, but it's an answer. You have to work a federal thing. No, that's not right. You have to talk to private industry and see what they can afford for affordable ways that make it fair for the person and the company. You can't say you're making it fair for the person and not the company, and then both of them lose. Right? That's what happened right now. I'm gonna make it fair for the worker, and then the company say, "Well, I can't afford the worker," and then they both lose. Right? And then he's gonna bring up a point, right? You should know about the unemployment rate. You should know about business because you help contribute to it. Because guess what? You got the All-Star game moved to fucking Colorado because and a lot of them businesses, right, that was depending on that money, black-owned businesses, right? That needed that money to recover from the 2 years of the Wuhan. They didn't get a chance to get that money because guess what? You voted, right, that the Georgia bill was racist. The same bill the lady brought up early in the conversation said, well, all these people done this and the bill didn't do this. The same bill, these Coca-Cola commercials, the same bill, all these big tech and all these, the same bill saying, well, we're going to get the All-Star game out of Atlanta and move it to Colorado. The same bill got more people registered than any time in the history of Georgia. So y'all actually lied on the people, took the fucking business, moved the business to Colorado, and a lot of them business lost money, right? They lost they was depending on that shit, right? They fucked around and lost money because they were remodeling shit and order shit, and a lot of people lost. Look at the black-owned businesses that lost in that Atlanta, in that fucking Georgia All-Star game. And you want to sit up here and talk about the economy and what you did?
They destroyed a lot of small businesses. So those small businesses couldn't pay $15, $20 an hour. So they have to pay what they're capable of paying. So to mandate a federal fee that they have to pay hourly wage, no, I couldn't approve that.
Huh? I can't approve that. You on top of them losing customers, on top of them kind of closed down, and with these high ass food prices, the customer service prices, and anything whatever fucking prices, right? On top of all of that, right? You mean to tell me you want to hit them with a federal mandate tax? That's getting the government in your business. Hershel Walker said, no, I can't do that. So business owners in Georgia, you want somebody who's going to give you a federal mandate and make you pay people a certain wage, right? Because he believes in socialism, right? Are you going to believe in somebody who's going to treat the worker and the company fair and the business fair and keep you in business? Are you going to work with somebody or vote somebody who's working on shutting you the fuck down?
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Senator Warnock, you did not raise your hand, so why not? And what would you do to help struggling Georgians?
I believe in.
Look. He believed in socialism, right? Because he believed, right, the worker should share in the owner's wealth. Socialism.
I believe in the dignity of work, and I believe in the dignity of workers. I watched my dad work really hard to take care of his family.
Who gives a fuck? He's supposed to, right? Why do people get on TV and say that, right? Why do people get on there and say, I watch my parents work hard to take care of me? They supposed to. I saw my mama work 2 jobs to take care of me. If she didn't have the proper education, she's supposed to, right? My daddy, I saw my mother. My daddy, he was supposed to be there. Why you giving credit for your daddy? I saw him work hard. He's supposed to. He's supposed to set an example. Why you want to bring that into a debate? It's not about your daddy. It's about the people of Georgia. It's not about your church. It's about the people of Georgia.
In other words, workers deserve to participate in the prosperity that they are creating for others.
Gentlemen, to the next question.
Socialism.
And this topic is about personal integrity. Buck?
Yeah, we're going to shift gears a little bit here. Senator Warnock, in 2020, you tweeted this. Unemployment benefits have expired, rent is due, and many Georgia families are at risk of eviction. My opponents are supposed to be serving the people in Washington, but they are clearly concerned with their own interest.
Now, look. This is right. When I was writing the skit, because this was actually a skit before I made it alive, right? This is actually a skit. This part right here, I couldn't stop laughing. So if I mute the mic or I can't stop laughing, right, it's for a reason. They asked him about evicting people. I don't know if anybody caught this, but to me, this was the funniest shit in the world, Craig. They asked him about evicting people over $30, and they was talking about the church, right? And he talked about an article, right, in the church. This nigga flip it. Who was that? G. Peterson. Notice Ralph talks black. How he's seen everyone work hard with their money, and he's never claimed to work hard with his money. He don't claim to work hard. You did right. I ain't get that. He never said I work hard for my money. He said, "Look, who's that? D. Peterson." He didn't say. He look. My daddy worked hard, or such and such work hard. He never said he worked hard for his money. That nigga never say he work hard. You right about that. That nigga, look, this nigga get an allowance to pay his rent, and he kicked the people out. He getting $7,000 allowance, D. Peterson, to pay his rent, right? And this motherfucker done kicked out his tenants, right? And then when the dude asked him about it, he said, "You know what this is? This is a smear campaign where Hershel Walker is going after my church." That nigga said Hershel Walker is going after my church. Like, what the fuck that got to do with people getting evicted? It's a smear. People know what my church do. They know what we do, and all this other shit. It's the people who like him that's going after my church. Who was that? Blazer 101. What's up with it, Blazer? Better say, if a nuclear war breaks out, money will be useless. Hell yeah, money will be useless. And so with his preachers with God and all that closeness to God, that shit would be useless too. Your ass is gone, right? Ain't no praying that your ass gonna survive. A nuke hit this motherfucker, right? But this nigga say, right, watch what he say. Don't blame me for kicking the people out. This nigga is blaming the church. Listen to this shit. And when Hershel Walker say this nigga gonna try to slick talk, I didn't know he was gonna stoop this low. I didn't know he was gonna stoop this low.
At least a dozen lawsuits have been filed by residents evicted for not being able to pay their rent. Some of the outstanding balances are less than $30. As someone who receives more than $7,000 a month for a housing allowance from Ebenezer Baptist Church, how do you explain this to Georgia voters who are struggling currently to make ends meet?
Look, you hear that? You heard him when he asked, how can you explain it, Georgia? You kicked him out. It's a lawsuit against you, right? It's a news article out, and it's a lawsuit against you, right? This has nothing to do with Hershel Walker. This is your church. This is the tenants. This is the law. This is the courts. This is the police. This is the money. This is all that shit. Watch this nigga answer. Hey, Georgia, this is your senator. Georgia got the dumbest senator in the fucking world. His name is Raphael Warnock.
Well, let me say that serving in the United States Senate and continuing to serve my church is the honor.
You hear him? Continue to serve my church. What did I got to do with the evictions?
Of my life. And it gives me a lens through which to do the work that I'm doing. But here's why you know I'm running against a desperate candidate.
Look, you heard what he said. He asked him about the evictions, right? This motherfucker said, look, the people know my church. They know who I am. They know who my church do. But this is how you know you run against a desperate candidate. No, the question is why do people get evicted? This nigga said, well, this is how you know you're running against a desperate candidate. Come on, Georgia. This nigga can't answer the question. Why is people getting evicted? You got a lawsuit. It's a newspaper article out on you, right? People complaining they homeless. Well, this is how you know you run against a desperate person. This nigga defaming my church.
Anytime a candidate would stoop to the level of trying to sully the name, he and his allies, to sully the name of Martin Luther King Jr.'s church and John Lewis's church, you know that's a desperate candidate.
Who the fuck said it? Hey, Hershel Walker didn't say nothing. Dude asked him a question, right? This motherfucker say, you know what? This nigga is talking about Martin Luther King and John Lewis Church. Like, Hershel, like, nigga, I didn't say nothing. Where did I say that? You talking about me kicking people out? I don't know how this nigga stooped that low. They talk about Martin Luther King like that. How does nigga stoop that low? I don't believe this shit. You know, you evicted people, right? People owe $30. You make $7,000 from the church for your motherfucking rent, right? From the church, right? And people get kicked out for $30. They got a lawsuit out of you. We got this newspaper article on you. Right? What do you have to say about this? I don't believe this motherfucker right here will talk about Martin Luther King.
Let me tell you about my church.
They evicted motherfuckers. That's what you gotta say about this. Let me tell you about my church. Motherfucker, they evicted people. It's a news article about you and your church. You evicted motherfuckers. Let me tell you about my church.
My church is a Matthew 25 church. We spend every week, every day feeding the hungry.
And evidently, the motherfuckers you done kicked out. I'll be throwing your play away. Nigga, you not gonna evict me and then come and give me no motherfucking bologna sandwich, motherfucker. I wish a nigga would. You wanna come and evict me and give me a bottle of water, motherfucker. We are the program, the church. Nigga, ain't you the motherfuckers that kicked me out? This motherfucker said, we feed the homeless every day. And every day you make motherfuckers homeless every day too. You are we are a party that, dude, you are a party that evict them, but you are a church that evict motherfuckers. Let me tell you about my church. This nigga doing my church. You ask me about evicted motherfuckers, let me tell you about my church. We feed the homeless. Come on, Georgia.
And the homeless. They know that those false charges that they've created are not true. We stand up for poor people every single day, and I ran for the Senate to do at a policy level what we do at a local level every single day. I'm not going to be distracted by him and his allies.
Wait a minute. Who distracted you? Who was distracting you with a question about you evicted my? I'm not going to be distracted by this nigga. I'm not going to be distracted by this nigga over here, by him and his allies. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you about my church. We feed the homeless every day. He didn't say that was a lie. He didn't say, and this nigga right here, how can he talk about Martin Luther King in church like that?
My people know the truth. They know the work we do every single day, and I couldn't be prouder of them. Proud to represent.
Time up, nigga. Time up. What the fuck are you talking about? I can't be proud of their record every day, the record of my people, the record of my church. Hell yeah, the eviction record, nigga. They 100 on that. Nigga, what? Nigga, what?
The Senate and proud to serve Ebenezer Baptist Church.
So just to clarify, your position is that the allegations in these lawsuits are not true?
Because we don't know what the fuck you said. Just to clear it up for Georgia, right? Just to clear it up. What I'm going to say is, this nigga right here is talking about the church of Martin Luther King.
I am saying that it is very obvious that my opponent and his allies are busy trying to sully Ebenezer Baptist Church.
You heard the people in the background? Like, what the fuck do that got to do with anything? Oh, so your point is, you didn't evict motherfuckers. what I'm trying to say is this nigga right here is talking about the church of Martin Luther King. It's bigger than that. Like ding ding. So your minute is up. So let me be clear. Are you saying yes? Or are you saying no? I'm not saying nothing. What I'm saying is this motherfucker right here is trying to setting up my church. Nigga, what? Wait a minute. We gotta. That shit is crazy.
Now you see the problem with the truth.
Switching gears a little bit here, sir. Your ex-wife filed a lawsuit
Yes.
asking for increased child support, saying that she had to pay for child care on days that your duties as a senator interfered with your parenting time. And
You know what? Right? We had a problem on this, right? And right, people try to twist this. Well, like, oh, she just want extra money. Did you hear what he say? And did you hear the lawsuit? Right? She was trying to go to school. His wife was trying to go to school. And this nigga became a senator. They had an agreement. I go to school and you a senator. So this is our agreement. You keep them on this time, right? And I keep them on this time, right? Because I need time to do this and you need time to be a senator. If you can't do that, we have to make arrangements for babysitters, right? If you can, you know, I understand you're a senator, you got your new job, so we have to make this. The wife is being 100. We have to make arrangements for babysitters, right? This nigga neglected the babysitting and the child support. So she said, okay, fuck it. I want to reallocate because now you want to play asshole. I need more child support money and I need to reallocate and get full custody of the kid because you as a senator said you don't have time, right? Listen to what the words that this dude is saying.
Now you see the problem with the truth.
switching gears a little bit here, sir. Your ex-wife filed a lawsuit asking for increased child support, saying that she had to pay for child care on days that your
She had to pay for child support on days, right? You was too busy working as a senator. He didn't deny that. You know what this nigga said? Well, I have kids that I love and they're right there in the audience. Well, nigga, why you didn't pay child support? Why you didn't pay the child support? If you love your kids so much, why you didn't take care of them? Well, my kids are right there and I have two kids, beautiful kids that I love. No, your wife, he just specifically said, your wife said you didn't pay child support on days where you was responsible for. Why? Why? Georgia. He talking about kids and all this other shit. Why he didn't pay his wife or pay for his child support on the days he was responsible for and he signed the order. This is this nigga. But watch his answer.
duties as a senator interfered with your parenting time and citing significant increases in your income. In 30 seconds, what is your response to that lawsuit?
Listen, I went through a divorce, like a lot of people. And while that was a painful period, what came out of that was two amazing children.
Thank you, Senator Warnock. Now to you, Mr.
You want to say something about that? Is she lying? Is she telling the truth? You know what I'm saying? Did you die out on child support? What did you do? Well, what happens is when people get a divorce, like everybody else, lots of people do it. I got two amazing kids. Okay. Did you pay child support? Like, this is your character. They asking you your character. And all you can say is, I got a divorce. And they just say, look, your wife is accusing you of stepping out on your daddy duties. You're using the excuse as a senator, you know what I'm saying, to not neglect your kid. And plus, you got a pay raise. Do you have something to say about that? Well, I was in a divorce, and got just like everyone else, and I have two beautiful kids out of it. Watch when they ask Herschel Walker about his problem. Watch how he answer it.
Mr. Walker, recent ads have highlighted allegations of past domestic violence. They've raised questions about how transparent you've been as far as your resume. In 1 minute, how do you respond to voters who question your integrity, both personally and professionally?
First of all, I've been very transparent, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. And I say I had a mental problem, and I'll be a champion for mental health because so many people suffer from mental health. But to have people like Senator Warnock that demonize mental health, when I want to tell everyone out there, you can get help. Don't listen to Senator Warnock and his people. You can get help. All you got to do is ask. All you got to do is ask. But the problem with the truth is you just saw it. You just saw it because he won't answer that about evicting the people from the church.
Huh? He didn't answer not one part of it. He blamed him.
And I told him I'll pay their salary. You're evicting them right now.
We have not evicted. We have not evicted those.
I didn't write the article.
I
didn't write the article.
I didn't write the article. You saying you didn't evict nobody, right? But you didn't debate it when he said it, but you want to debate it when I said it. When he asked you the question, you had a whole chance to explain yourself. Now you want to say that's not true. Well, when he asked you why you didn't say it, he had to repeat it. I'm asking you, was that yes or no? But now all of a sudden, since Hershel Walker said something, you got a definitive answer. Come on, man. You didn't debate him when he had the article in his hand, when he asked you. But Hershel Walker, oh, it's not true. You're a lie. What? You didn't call the white man a liar. You didn't call the dude on the stage who asked you the question a liar. You called the black man a liar and said that he was responsible for the article.
And most of the people out there still my time.
I'm okay with the discussion. If you start talking over each other, we have to move forward.
We have not evicted the tenants.
Speak, Senator.
And he should take that money and pay it back to the veterans that he exploited while pretending to run.
That too. And see, you can tell that he's not desperate because if he had read in that thing, he would have saw that I had nothing to do with that. But he is so desperate right now, and he really wants that seat. He's now telling you, I didn't evict anyone. It is written in the paper. I didn't do this. Well, Senator, you did. And it's okay to speak the truth. Do not bear false witness, Senator. Do not bear false witness.
Georgia, you do not bear false witness, right? He said he didn't do it, right? It's in the article. And then you didn't debate him. Now you're saying, oh, I didn't do it. It didn't happen. Well, you got sentenced and you got a case, right? In court said you did. So who we going to believe? We're going to believe the motherfucker on stage or the article, right? Or the court cases or the lawyers, you know what I'm saying? Or the person, you know what I'm saying, that found the information, you know what I'm saying, and brought it to the moderator who found the information, brought it up there and asked you about it. You didn't debunk it then? Georgia, this who you want? This who you want? Huh? He said, I've been transparent with mine. You can get help. Don't listen to him, right? Because if you keep on listening to these motherfuckers, right, they're gonna say you crazy forever, and they're gonna keep you in that basket and say you can't for their purpose, right? They're gonna say you can't get better. Well, Hershel Walker saying you can get better, and I'll be a champion for mental health because there's a lot of people suffering from it, like soldiers and police officers and shit like that, that's doing worse shit than whatever you can accuse Hershel Walker of doing, right? That need help, that need somebody to talk to, that need an example of, hey, you can get better. So if Hershel Walker said, I'm going to be an example of what mental health is and how you can get better, why is people mocking that?
You have been very open about your struggles with mental illness, and you even wrote a book about your diagnosis of dissociative identity disorder. We recently asked if you were still receiving treatment, and this is what you had to say.
No, that's all done, and you don't need to, and that's why I tell people. I think one thing I told people is I've been open about it, and I was open about it, 14 years ago.
Mr. Walker, in 30 seconds, can you clarify this? Are you saying you no longer have dissociative identity disorder, or is this something that you continue to this day to manage?
No, you don't have to have treatment for it. And I encourage people to continue to talk to people. I talk to my pastors. And I continue to get help if I need help. But I don't need any help. I'm doing well.
Right? Like Tom Cruise made a perfect statement, right? People on medication, right? They keep people on medication telling them they're going to get better. And the ultimate goal is to get people off of medication, right? So they can get better on their own and so they don't need the medication, right? So if Hershel Walker, right, went through some mental shit 20 years ago, right? And he got his help and shit like that. And it got to be some type of point if he healed from it and he doesn't suffer from it, and he got to be some type of point where he don't need to talk to nobody, where he don't need to, whatever the fuck they said he was doing to get over it. And at some point in time where you don't need it, that's like somebody going through something mental, right? At some point in time, they're supposed to be off the medication, not take lesser doses of or change the prescription of. The ultimate goal is to get off the medication. The ultimate goal for somebody that's got mental illness, right, is to get unmentally ill. So why would you sit up there and say something like, well, he's this and he's that, he's suffering from this and he's done that? Well, you have no previous record of that. That shit happened 20 years ago. He wrote books about it. He done this. He done all this shit about his mental health. So why still judge him on that when you have no episode? Now, if anybody was suffering from mental health, it'd be this motherfucker, Raphael Warnock, who can't answer a fucking question.
But that's the reason why I tell anyone out there that is suffering from any type of mental illness, you can get help. All you got to do is ask. And I will always be a champion for mental health.
And just to clarify.
Huh? You see the difference of what they say about when he say about what kind of father you will be? Well, I got 2 kids and this is a divorce. And they asked him, what do you think about mental health? He didn't say nothing. I own up to it. I'm a champion for it. And I fight for it. Did Raphael say, I'm fighting for single fathers? Did Raphael Warnock say, I'm fighting for fathers like me who be put in this situation about child support, anything? Did he say any of that? No. But Hershel Walker say, I'm going to be a champion of mental health because this is what y'all say I'm suffering from. This is what I know about. So I'm going to keep on preaching this shit. Raphael Warnock didn't say he's going to keep on preaching shit. We're going to keep on preaching, running over his wife's fucking foot, dodging child support, not taking care of your kids when you're running for senator. What are you going to talk about?
Just to clarify, how can Georgia voters, though, be assured that this will not impact your ability to lead if elected?
Because I'm ready to lead today. I'm ready to vote with the Georgia voters, whereas Senator Warnock has voted with Joe Biden 96% of the time. I'm ready to vote with the Georgia voters today.
People may not like that answer, but that was also a smart answer, right? How would we know that you're ready to lead today or you can do the job today? It's not a job that's hard to do. I'm ready to vote with the Georgia people. You telling me like it's not rocket scientists. The Georgia people want this is what I'm going to vote on. The Georgia people don't want that. This is what I'm not going to vote on. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. So how when you say that it's easy for me to lead, that's a simple answer. What else am I supposed to say? Oh, I'm not a lead because I've been through this and I've been through this medication. I read this book and no, I'm ready to lead because I know what the Georgia people want. So from day one, I'm going to fight for them. This nigga Raphael not that fucking articulate.
Crime and violence. In June, Congress passed the first bipartisan legislation to combat gun violence in 30 years. According to a Pew Research poll released in July, 78% of Americans think the new gun law will do little or nothing to reduce gun violence. Senator Warnock, I turn to you first. As the number of shootings in Georgia and across the nation continue to rise, what should be done? What should the next step be to solve this issue? You have to answer this question, sir, and I give you 1 minute.
Do you think he's going to answer it? Right? Do you think he's going to answer the question? Do you think he's going to answer the question for the first time in the debate? He's going to give an honest answer to a question that you can understand and that can better the life, the safety, the well-being, the financial, whatever you want to say of the people of Georgia. Can you name one answer he gave where he said, not my church and my people and all this old shit? But right now, I guess he's finna talk about his Joe Biden voting bill. I voted with Joe Biden.
Well, I'm glad that we finally passed the first gun safety law in 30 years. And we did that on a bipartisan basis. I believe that this law will indeed save lives. And I'd like to see us work and see what we can achieve beyond that on a bipartisan basis.
What that got to do with saving people's lives in the street because these guns that you so-called ban that people are still getting murdered off from, right? What are you going to do about that? Because I thought that was the question, Warnock.
My heart goes out when I see the kinds of tragedies that we're witnessing all across our state, all across
Okay, damn your heart going out, right? Damn what you done in the past. What you going to do to stop the violence? Oh, my heart goes out to the people in the past, and my heart. This is what you gonna keep talking about? The past? What about the future? The people that's living. I understand, and Lord, and my heart go out to the people in the past, but my heart also go out to the people that's probably gonna die in the future because of these laws, right? And this shit you putting in place that allows people, right, and allows criminals, right, to kill innocent kids. You're not talking about any of that shit. How can you make these streets better? You have no idea. The shit you passed ain't done nothing, but you bragging on it.
country, and it's the reason why I have passed legislation to support law enforcement.
Well, first of all, any law or bill passed that will affect anyone's Second Amendment, I'm not going to stand for and I won't support. But third, to hear Senator Warnock talks about supporting law enforcement is sad because he's called them names. And because of the name calling he's done, the morale is down, recruitment is down, only because of what he's done. He's empowered criminals to think they're better than the police.
Right? You see how he said, I'm anything with the First Amendment right, I'm not right with that. He gave his answer. I say his answers are short and simple. You only got 1 minute. Now, I got so much time, I can talk about his character. Warnock don't have that time. He's too busy on the defense because he know if he gave his honest answer, right, that he'll get booed off a fucking stage. So Hershel Walker brings up his record because he know he's not going to talk about it. Wait a minute. How was this dude talking about he support the police, and this is the same dude that defund the police? He don't get up and say, well, you can do both at the same time. No, you can't. They losing morale. The recruitment is down and all that shit because you, the squad, and all these motherfuckers talking about defunding the police and taking up for the criminals before you take up for the police. So yes, you have something to do with that. And Hershel Walker is bringing it up.
And because he believes in no cash bail, is releasing prisoners, he don't protect the border. Fentanyl is coming to this country and also into Atlanta. 70% of the drugs coming from the border goes to Atlanta, Georgia.
That's not a true fact.
He talks about the police. I have more sheriff that has endorsed me than anyone running in Georgia right now.
You think any of them police or sheriffs or law enforcement agencies, right, support Warnock? He's talking about how much money he done for him and the bills I signed, any of them bills got passed? You didn't say how many got approved. You said how many you signed, how many you sent the legislation. You didn't say how many got passed by legislation. You can sign a bill all you want to. You can sign 1 million motherfucking bills. That don't mean nothing that's gonna get through. How many people voted on you? They didn't vote on your shit. They voted on the other shit. You just had your vote, but none of your bills got passed. None of the legislations you passed, right? But Hershel Walker said, okay, well, since you passed these bills, right, and you bragging on these bills, this is the result. Open borders, drugs, gangs, murder, crime. On the bills you bragging about right now that you passed. Warnock is trapped in the corner. He's on defense. He can't say nothing but to Hershel Walker. He got to try to find a way to send sneak shots.
I even have some sheriffs here. They've endorsed me because they know I have their back. They're going to have my backs. So to listen to him say that after calling them name, I think is a disgrace.
Mr. Walker, thank you. I have a follow-up now for both of you.
I think I ought to be able to respond to that.
You see that, right? And watch how he responds to that. Now, Georgia, if anybody from Georgia, I want you to listen to this. Hershel Walker just hit him on his record because of you, right? And because of what you said, and because of what you did. this is the result. And the most articulate thing Raphael Warnock can muster up and say is this.
I will give you the opportunity, 15 seconds to respond, Senator Warnock.
We will see time and time again tonight, as we've already seen, that my opponent has a problem with the truth. And just because he said something doesn't mean it's true. I have supported our police officers. I've called them and I've prayed with their families, like those.
I don't need you to pray for my family. I need you to protect me. I need you to let me be able to do my job, right? I don't need you to call me after the fact. That's not supporting. Oh, I call people after the fact. I cry with their families. I talk with them. That's not supporting. That's not the support he's talking about. I have supported the police. You see how they try to switch it up and try to use semantics? We saying support the police, talking about having a back. Having their back, letting them do their job. Right? No cash bail. It's not I work with the families after they don't want to hear that shit after they died. I'm sorry for your family, this and all this. I don't want to hear that shit. What would you do? What would you have to protect them from the criminals? And with all that shit, you saying make people hate the police so they can fucking shoot at the police. What happened to all that shit? I feel for your family. I don't want to hear that.
Officers lost in Cobb County when they were killed doing what police officers routinely do. You can support police officers, as I've done, through the COPS program, through the Invest to Protect program, while at the same time holding police officers, like all professions, accountable. One thing I have not done, I've never pretended to be a police officer.
That's what he wanted to get out. You see that? Georgia? He said all of that because he wanted to assault Hershel Walker, right? Hershel Walker didn't fall for the assault. He pulled out a badge, which was a prop or something like whatever the fuck, right? But he didn't stoop as low and try to assault him back. He just pulled out proof, which wasn't allowed, but he didn't assault him back. He didn't stoop that low. Well, at least I didn't try to be nothing. He didn't say, at least I wasn't no fucking running over. But they both probably got the same problem, so it'd be like the kettle calling person black, but they both like, well, you do it too, so it'd be a name game. But he didn't get into that name game.
And I've never threatened a shootout with the police.
Well, and now I have to respond to that.
We are moving on,
I have
gentlemen.
to respond to that. And you know what's so funny? I am with many police officers, and at the same time,
Mr. Walker.
You see the laughing at him and shit? They're mostly fucking donors and all that shit up in there trying to embarrass him. They want to make laugh. They want to make him. They want to embarrass him because he tearing Warnock ass up. He wasn't supposed to do that. That was the wrong move. But they try to put emphasis on it, right? They try to make him look dumb. You know what I'm saying? Oh, look at him. But no, that was probably the one mistake Hershel Walker made all fucking night. Warnock made plenty of them.
Mr. Walker, Mr. Walker, Mr. Walker, excuse me, Mr. Walker, please, out of respect, I need to let you know, Mr. Walker, you are very well aware of the rules tonight.
Yes.
And you have a prop.
Yes.
That is not allowed, sir. Yes. I ask you to put that prop away.
Well, it's not a prop. This is real. And he said, I have a problem. I never worked with law enforcement.
It is considered a prop, Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
You're very well aware of the rules, aren't you?
Well,
Aren't you aware of the rules?
Brought up the truth, but let's talk about the truth.
Thank you for putting that prop away. And as a matter of fact, we still have a lot to get to.
Whoa, I don't hear right. I've been taking a smoke break. We're talking about the truth, right? We've been talking about truth. Let me give y'all a couple of more minutes of the truth, right? Let me give you a couple of more minutes of the truth while we're here, right? While I take a small break. We got one more break before the end of this video. For those who are new right here to this channel, we got to take a small break, you know what I'm saying, in the middle of what the hell? We got to take a small break in the middle of all the action. We got to take a small break. Here we go. Is it this? Yeah, we got to take a small break. I know where I was at too. Break time. This is something new. Boom. Is it right here? Yeah, I think it's right here. Break time. Small break time. Who was that? Send me. D. Peterson. All Democrats are insane, but one of them knows it. None of them, not one of them knows it. You damn right. All of them think they crazy, right? It's something I said one time, right? It said something about, I forgot. You're looking down at another donation, D. Peterson. We need a couple of more D. Petersons up in the chat, right? We need a couple of more D. Petersons up in the chat that show some love from above, right? Hold on, where was that? It was right here. Let me show you a little bit more of the gospel. Let me show you a little bit more of the gospel. Of the gospel of the man. Hold on, here we go. Let me show you a little bit more gospel of the man. This is gonna be out tomorrow. I got enough donations to put this out tomorrow.
Ours was not a campaign, but rather an incredible and great movement.
A movement from God.
You really believe that God divinely interjected himself into the campaign and actually chose Donald Trump to win?
I absolutely believe that because I'm a Christian.
And he believed in Jesus and Donald Trump because the Lord told him to. Next, it's too bad Barack Obama didn't believe in Donald Trump.
John spoke about him.
This is the one I was talking about when I said he comes after me.
Restricted, by the way, to Mr. Trump. I mean, I find it interesting that everybody's focused on Trump primarily just because he says in more interesting ways what the other candidates are saying as well.
But he is greater than I am because he existed before I was born.
I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
The Jewish authorities in Jerusalem sent some priests and Levites to John.
Who are you? To talk against God's plan.
And the reason is because I have a lot of faith in the American people.
I am not the Messiah.
And I think they recognize that being president is a serious job. It's not hosting a talk show or a reality show.
Who are you then?
Are you Elijah?
No, I'm not.
Are you the prophet?
No.
Then tell us who you are.
I want him to show his birth certificate. There's something on that birth certificate that he doesn't like.
Nobody knows who John Obama is.
And sometimes it requires you making hard decisions even when people don't like it.
Something Donald Trump and Jesus was good at.
And doing things that are unpopular. And standing up for people who are vulnerable but don't have some powerful political constituency.
Well, Donald Trump got the power of God.
We have to take an answer back to those who sent us.
I'm starting to wonder myself whether or not he was born in this country.
So, what do you say about yourself?
And if he wasn't born in this country, which is a real possibility, then he has pulled one of the great cons in the history of politics.
He could have been born in Kenya and gone over to the United States, and everybody wants to be a U.S. citizen.
John answered by quoting the prophet Isaiah.
No one is happier, no one is prouder to put this birth certificate matter to rest than the Donald.
I'm the voice of someone shouting in the desert.
Do you accept that what he produced is valid?
No, I don't necessarily
But do you believe he probably was born in America?
No. I say he might have been.
If the state of Hawaii says this is official, he was born in Hawaii on this date, here it is, why do you deny that?
A lot of people do not think it was an authentic certificate.
How can you say that if this...
You won't report it, Will. His mother was not in the hospital. There were many other things that came out.
Donald, you're beginning to sound a little ridiculous.
Ain't that the same thing they said about Jesus? Next!
Make a straight path for the Lord to travel!
Trump's unconventional style of diplomacy was brash and unpredictable. Long-term allies suddenly found themselves on the end of public outbursts.
And it requires being able to work with leaders around the world.
At the Kremlin, President Putin said Trump's victory was a chance to repair relations with America.
In a way that reflects the importance of the office.
It's not our fault they're in such poor shape, he said, but Russia is ready to restore them.
Well, problems was bad with Russia because of John Obama. Next! And problems was bad with Saudi Arabia because of Joe Biden.
Saudi Arabia, would you say they're rich? And I love the king, King Solomon, but I said, King, we're protecting you. You might not be there for 2 weeks without us. You have to pay for your military.
That is a message from the Lord.
His campaign promise to build a wall on the border with Mexico to keep immigrants out was dismissed as immoral and inhumane.
Who's going to pay for the wall?
But his base in the red Republican states loved it.
And so did the Lord. Wait a minute. I can't speak for the Lord. He can speak for himself. Next!
I am going to be the greatest jobs president that God ever created. Remember that.
Well, I can speak for that on the Lord's behalf because that is the truth. Next! One thing Donald Trump and Jesus Christ had in common is you don't play with the church's money.
There in the temple, he found people selling cattle, sheep, and pigeons, and also the money changers sitting at their tables.
We are being taken advantage of. And I don't like it.
And we know who Donald Trump is talking about.
And I haven't liked it for many years. China, $507 billion a year.
And Donald Trump have a problem with that.
This American carnage stops right here and stops right now.
With the EU, $151 billion. With Mexico, $120 billion. Mexico, who would think Mexico?
Well, I think Mexico is making us pay that debt off with illegal immigrants. Take these.
Mexico's making a fortune. Plus, they have a tax. We don't have a tax. They have a tax on top of that, and the tax is almost 17% of that tax.
Well, who's getting the most money out of America?
And maybe that's a question you should ask China.
So that was like a no-brainer.
And you look, I could go through every country. I could talk about Japan. I could talk about, they're very good allies, but no wonder they're good. I mean, the deficits, the money they're making off the United States.
So how much do we owe China? Like $10 trillion?
Don't ask me, ask China that question, okay? When you ask them that question, you may get a very unusual answer.
Well, I guess Jesus didn't like that answer either. You know what pisses Donald Trump off?
Let's say China.
And if you guess China, you are right.
China.
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 China. China. China.
China.
Is messing with the church's money.
You go over to China. 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 You take China.
China.
China. I love them. China. This American carnage stops right here and stops right now.
China. China, China, China. I have to have my China. China, China, because China, 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 China.
China, 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 China now, China, China. You know, China. I know China very well. China, 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 China.
Jesus whooping, that's Jesus and Trump whooping China ass. Don't sell in the house of the Lord. Or
China,
don't sell
China,
in America.
China.
Northwest Wisconsin, where I'm from.
It's China to me. China, China, China.
So he made a whip from cords and drove all the animals out of the temple, both the sheep and the cattle.
Drove all the Chinese out of America. Drove all the Chinese companies out of America. Who does that? Trump. Get out of here, China.
China. You want to buy from China? That's great. Buy from China. Buy toys from China. China in particular. China. China. I have people that I know in China.
got a problem with merchants cheating God, and Donald Trump got a problem with China cheating America.
But one thing I have to do is economically take on China.
So did Jesus.
He overturned the tables of the money changers and scattered their coins.
Because China has been ripping us off for many years. President Clinton, President Bush, and President Obama, and others.
And he ordered
And
those
Donald
who
Trump
sold
ain't taking that
pigeons
shit. Nigga, Donald Trump is mad at China. Just like Jesus was mad at the merchants. You ain't gonna do this shit in America. Get
I'm
out.
not doing this. Somebody said it's Trump's trade war. This isn't my trade war. This is a trade war that should have taken place a long time ago by a lot of other presidents.
Huh? Jesus telling them.
Stop making my father's house a marketplace.
So somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one.
Did you hear Donald Trump? He's the chosen one. Somebody had to do it, and Donald Trump said he's the chosen one. He's chosen from God. He's chosen from the Lord. You better understand Donald Trump. Huh? It's not every day that you get somebody that's chosen from the Lord. That's gonna be a good skit. That's gonna be a good skit right there. He's chosen from the Lord. It's not him, it's the Lord. Huh? You gotta understand. China, get up out of here. Get up out of here. Jesus was doing the same thing. You merchants, get up out of here. Get up out of America. Get up out of here. Right? Hold on, we're gonna get back to this. Hershel.
In question.
Hershel.
What do you believe homicides among African American youth is growing? Why are those homicides growing, sir? And how do we stop it?
Did you hear him? We're gonna play this one more time. Did you hear him, Georgia? Why is it growing? And how do we stop it? Right? I gotta play this because this is a big issue in Georgia. Gun violence, gang violence, murder, right? This is a big thing. How can you stop it? What is the cause of it? And how do you stop it? Right? One more time, Georgia. Listen to this answer. And do you feel safe with this answer? Georgia, we're depending on you.
First of all, he talked about standing up. You didn't stand up to Chuck Schumer when you could have got a helicopter company here of almost $1 billion. You let it go to New York. You didn't stand up then. You didn't stand up to Biden when he left American people and had 13 military soldiers killed in Afghanistan. You didn't stand up then. So what we can do is Putin is a bully. And the way you beat a bully, you show strength. Well, Senator Warnock say he stood up. He not stood up to Biden. If he was standing up, he wouldn't have voted with him 96% of the time, which gave us an open border, which gave us high inflation, which gave us crime in the streets. And he talking about standing up. He didn't stand up. He have laid down every time it came around. And you know that, Senator.
Huh? And you know that, Senator. Right? How can you say you standing up, right, and you bow down to Joe Biden? Whatever they say, it's not what Georgia say. Don't say you standing up for Georgia. Don't fix your mouth to say you standing up for Georgia. Georgia, do you think he's standing up for you? On the abortion law, Georgia, do he stand up for you? On the gun law, do he stand up for you? On the Second Amendment, do he stand up for you? On the abortion right, do he stand up for you? On the voting, do he stand up for you? Right? On the baseball game, did he stand up for you? On the black-owned businesses, did he stand up for you? What if he stood up for you on? Huh? Ask yourself. Have he stood up for you in inflation? Have he stood up on you the gas? Have he stood up on you the food? Have you stood up on Joe Biden on that saying, hey man, these gas prices are too high? Ask yourself, Georgia, Herschel Walker is right. What did he stand up on? What did he fight back on? He voted for the Green New Deal. He voted for the federal ban on fracking. He voted for the shutting down of the pipeline. He voted for all that shit. So ask yourself, Georgia, black, white, Mexican, whatever the fuck you is, right? How does Raphael Warnock make your life better? right? So how did he stand up for you?
Like a simple yes or no, would you support President Biden running for a second term in 2024?
Look, a simple yes or no. You think a simple yes or no is simple for Warnock? You think he can answer a question? Yes or no? Huh? Do you think he can answer a basic question? You think he's that articulate to answer a basic question? Do you support him? Right? You could have said, right, if Joe Biden is the candidate in 2024, yes, I will support him. Right? And I will support any other person, right? You could have said, you could have threw your support behind him, right? You voted with this dude 97% of the time, right? So that means you agree with 90% of his policies. Why you not going to vote for someone you voted with and you agree with 97% of the time? Listen to it, and I want you to listen to this, Georgia, right? I want you to listen to his what he says, right? On if you're going to support Joe Biden, right? I tell the partner I debate with all the time, right? It's no coincidence, right, that under Joe Biden, everything is up. You can blame it on what you want to, right? But it's a reason. It's a coincidence. Crime is up. Border crossings up. Taxes up. Food is up. Gas is up. Right? A heightened alert is up. You know, everything is fucking up. We have war. Taxes up. Everything is up under this administration. That's not by accident. It's by their laws, their policies, their voting records, what they voted on, what they voted against, what they didn't allow in, what they counseled, it's all of that. He voted for anything, right? You want to blame Joe Biden for, Georgia? Guess what? Your senator voted for it. So if you want to get mad at Joe Biden, you want to say Joe Biden done this and Joe Biden this and Joe. No, right? If you're going to say Joe Biden an idiot, right? If you're going to say Joe Biden can't talk, Joe Biden can't remember shit, Joe Biden, whatever you say about Joe Biden, this nigga right here voted 97% of whatever you call Joe Biden. So next time, Georgia, you see Joe Biden talking to people who ain't there, right? Can't walk and find the fucking office door, got an Easter bunny dragging him off stage, falling up them stairs, falling off a bike, tripping over a dog, right? Can't remember names, right? When you see that person, you have to look at your senator and say, my senator voted 97% of what this dude think is right. When he get up and when Joe Biden get up and say, well, it was only a 2% inflation this month, right? When it's still at 8.6 inflation, right? Your senator backs this person. He's going to vote for anything this dude says is going to fix the Reduction Act or fix the inflation or fix the food, and he backed up. He has the same talking points as Joe Biden. Well, I signed this bill into law, and I signed this, and I was signed this. Well, he didn't vote against the Inflation Act. Well, that's Joe Biden Inflation Reduction Act, right? Well, you said he running on Joe Biden, but you just said you trying to get credit for one of Joe Biden bills and said he will vote against it, right? But look what he says, Georgia. Pay attention, Georgia. It's important.
I've not spent a minute thinking about what politicians should run for what in 2024.
Is that a yes or a no?
The answer is I have not, and maybe this is difficult.
Yeah, it is difficult. You hear him? Is it a yes or a no? Well, maybe this is difficult. You wasting. Look, it's a yes or no question, right? Listen, Georgia. It's a simple yes or no question. He can't say neither one of them. He doesn't have a backbone. He doesn't have a heart. He doesn't have the authority to say yes or no. All right. Someone he agreed with 97% of the time, he can't say is he going to support the dude or not. He want to give you a whole soliloquy, but he can't tell you the truth about where he stands as a man.
Maybe this is difficult for people to understand because that's how politicians think. I think that part of the problem with our politics right now is that it's become too much about the politicians. You're asking me who's going to run in 24? The people of Georgia get to decide who's going to be their senator in 3 days, Monday. And I hope they'll show up and vote. And I'd be honored to represent them in the Senate.
Huh? You see the answer? The people right now, that has nothing to do with the answer. It's not a yes or no. Ask Hershel Walker that question and see if we have a backbone.
You haven't thought about it. If you can think about it now in 2024, the president.
If you can think about it now, you haven't thought about it then, but give us a yes or no answer. In 2024, if you run, do you support him? You think about it now, right? You have a senator can't make a split-second decision or come up with an answer about where he stands at on national TV. So what he's saying is, right, is if he's uncertain of who he's going to vote for or who he's going to stand with, and he can't tell you, what else you think he's hiding about his policies and the shit he say, right? If he can't say who he support. So if President do run, right, and he in 2024, and let's say hypothetically he win, right? This means he's going to vote for somebody that's 80-something fucking years old, already senile and 70-something years old, right? Got the country in worse shape it's ever been. This dude is saying he's going to vote for him because if he didn't or he wasn't, he'd just say no.
Will turn 82 years old. Are you concerned about his physical and his mental fitness at that time? You have 30 seconds.
The people of Georgia hired me to represent them regardless of who's in the White House. I'm honored to do that job every single day. My dad said if somebody hired
my dad said, you see all this old shit? My dad said everybody got a lesson for their daddy. You, Joe Biden, everybody got a lesson for their daddy. You never hear Donald Trump on there talk about my daddy told me a lesson. My daddy, you never hear Donald Trump tell my daddy worked hard. You never hear him try to get credit for that. He don't do that shit. You hear all these other politicians talk about their daddy and their parents and I work hard. And Donald Trump don't throw that shit in nobody's face. My parents work hard, I work hard. No. Right? He asking you about where you stand. You talk where your daddy come from. Huh? What do your daddy have to do with it? Working hard. What do he have to do with it? What did he have to do with Joe Biden?
you to do a job, do the job they hired you to do.
Mr. Walker, former President Trump is also considering a run for the White House in 2024. If you can give me a simple yes or no answer, and we'll give you time to explain as well. Would you support a Trump 2024 run?
Yes, I would.
Huh? Simple. Against all the people who may be Trump haters in Georgia, right? But they may be independent voters and all this old shit may not like my stance. I'm going to tell you exactly. I'm going to stand with them. Yes, I will. I have a backbone. No matter if you like him or not, I have a backbone. If you have a backbone, I mean, and everybody don't agree with Donald Trump all the time. That's what people fail to realize. Is people like Tim Scott and other people don't agree with Donald Trump policies all the time, right? So it's some people who ride with Donald Trump, but they don't agree with all the shit, right? So Republicans also have, you know what I'm saying, some kind of independent thinking. And I think Hershel Walker is one. He may agree with Donald Trump and as a friend, but he's gonna ride for Atlanta. I mean, he's gonna ride for Georgia, right? He's gonna do things with Georgia. He's, you know what I'm saying? And Donald Trump is not in office right now. Joe Biden is, right? But right now he's saying, "Will you support him?" Yes, I will. And you know why? Because I'm a loyal motherfucker, like I am to Georgia, and I'm finna explain it.
And let me tell you, President Trump is my friend. Has nothing to do with that. He's my friend. I won't leave my allies.
You see how the people in the belly, oh, you're like, they're my friend. Oh, no, fuck that. He's my friend. You don't turn your back on friends because you don't like them. You may want me to, but I can't do that.
Which is what Senator Warnock and Joe Biden did in Afghanistan. They left their allies. They left their allies, and right now on a foreign stage, a lot of these people don't trust us no more. They don't trust us to be strong anymore because I said, President Trump is my friend, and he won't stand up with Biden when yet he's voted with him 96% of the time. Let's be real.
Huh? You see they're trying to laugh at him, right? But he got him with a good point. You're not. I mean, I consider President Biden, Trump, my friend, right? You voting with somebody, but you don't consider him your friend. You don't consider him ally. You're not gonna support him. You're not gonna support the person you riding with. Georgia, pay attention.
Mr. Walker, are you concerned about the ongoing legal investigations around the country and including here in Georgia? You have 30 seconds.
Well, first of all, I would hope that Senator Warnock, he and myself being people of color, we want the scales of justice to not have a hand on it. We want the Lady Justice to be blind, but in this instance here, Lady Justice is not blind. And I said, right now, with everything that is going on, what I like to do is get to what's important. What's important is protecting the border. What's important is protecting people on the street. What's important is getting this inflation down, not what's going on there in Washington, talking about whether President Trump is guilty or not guilty. What I wanted to do is see due process, which is what I hope Senator Warnock and myself would love to see.
Huh? Well, you would love to see, right? He put it in the we category, right? It's not about him, Donald Trump, right? It's about due process, right? And I hope Senator Warnock, right, as a black man will understand, right? We want the hands of justice out of this because we as black men understand when the hands of justice are put in this, right? So he hit him with a point he cannot deny. And Warnock don't try to debate. He don't like, well, let me get in on this. He don't say that. He don't try to interfere in anything. Hershel Walker left him dumbfounded, left him in a position where he cannot defend himself, right? And he has to agree with Hershel Walker. What he gonna say? No, I don't. What he gonna say? You wrong on that? What Warnock gonna say? But shut his mouth. Hershel Walker is destroying this dude.
Changing topics now, we're going to move forward just to give you guys both an update that you may want to know. Although now we're going to move forward just to give you guys both an update that you may want to know. Although the news is not great if you're a Braves fan. Right now they're in the top of the ninth inning, Game 3, National League Division Series, down 9-1 to the Phillies. Not a great night for the Braves. Just a few weeks ago, the World Series champs, though, they did visit the White House. Their visit sparked a renewed debate about the team's name and their signature tomahawk chop. Mr. Walker, do you believe the Braves should rethink their name, their logo, or their signature cheer? You have 30 seconds.
30 seconds, right? Like I say, Hershel Walker give a simple answer, yes or no, right? But then he has the rest of the time to say what he wants because he doesn't have to defend his answer, right? He just have to give you his perspective. Yes or no. No, I don't defend it, right? But then he has a minute to fill in the blanks on what he say, right? Warnock is not that articulate to give his yes or no and then do that shit. Watch Hershel Walker, the teacher, right? And then watch Warnock, the student.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Right now we have.
What, you hear that? Not at all. He has a minute, right? He has a minute. His words is not at all. That's my answer. I don't need no long paragraph. I don't need all that shit, right? But not at all. Now I can go on with the rest of what I want to say, but not at all. Not at all.
We have too many other things to be concerned about.
Besides a damn name, right? We got too many other things to be concerned about. Not at all. Now we got too many other things to be concerned about. What do we got to be concerned about? You may say it's repertory, right? But he's going to put it in the mind of the Georgia people. Yeah, we do got other shit to worry about, like inflation and shit like that. He's smart to keep going back on that. Raphael Warnock stay away from that shit because he know he added on to it. And if he answered that, Hershel Walker tear his ass up on that. So he never respond to that, right? No, I don't, right? Believe in a fucking name change. But we got bigger problems than that. That's something we don't have. Leave that to sports. We have no control of that, right? But my answer is no. But let me give you the rest of my answer.
We have people dying on the streets in Atlanta, around the country. We have people living paycheck to paycheck, can't afford food to put on their table, can't afford gas. We have Putin out there. We have China out there. We can't be concerned about whether the Braves are going to change their name. We need to be concerned about saving this country. We need to be concerned about saving the Georgia people. We need to be concerned about giving people a right to live the liberties and freedoms that the Constitution of the United States guaranteed them to have.
Right? That was his answer about the Atlanta Braves. People starving, people hungry, right? I don't have time for that. I got time for the people of Georgia, for their constitutional rights, for their liberty, you know what I'm saying? To feed their family. I don't have time to be worried about a damn Braves name. But you know who do got time?
Senator Warnock, the same question to you in regards to the Braves. Do you think they should rethink their name, their logo, or their signature cheer?
Listen, the management of the Braves is meeting with our tribes, and they're having a conversation about this. And I know the folks over at the Braves organization, and I trust that they and the tribes that they're talking to will come to a place that makes sense for all involved.
What the hell they got to do with Atlanta? You see that? Where they're talking to the tribes, and he worried about a name because him with this culture change and this council culture and all that shit is big for the Democrats and the liberal. Atlanta don't give a shit about that. You see that long ass answer? He didn't give nothing about the people for Atlanta. No hope, right? Because everybody in Atlanta don't watch baseball. Niggas don't look. Niggas in Atlanta is dying in the street and all that shit. Ain't worried about no damn baseball name. Right? When people hungry and can't eat and they can't feed their kids, they're not worried about no damn name change and no damn baseball team. Right? When people die in bullets, they're not worried about no damn strikeouts and no bottom of the ninth inning. You talking about shit people don't give a damn about, right? Well, we were talking to the Indians and the people, you know what I'm saying, not trusted that they're this and all that. No, Hershel Walker like, fuck that. We got bigger problems. You're looking at who is that? Send me a donation. Oh, that's my boy right there. I ought to put up your picture on Instagram. That's my boy right there, 1-6. Right? We be that picture you sent me with the picture was cool. I like that picture. That's my boy right there. What up, my boy? I want to say your name on here. What's up with it? 160. All right. But yeah, but you see how Raphael Warnock gave a long soliloquy. They don't want to hear that. They want hope. They want action. They want confidence. They want somebody they know they're gonna have their back. You're not sounding like that. You're worried about everything. You worried about the doctors? Are you worried about the pastor? You worried about a Green New Deal? You worried about passing this? You worried about, but you're not worried about the people of Georgia. You're not, right? The moderator bust your ass out on a couple of stories you ain't answered, and Hershel Walker bust your ass out on a couple of stories you can't answer, right? About the eviction, about abortions, about all kind of shit, about the Bible, about all kind of shit, right? About the Trump shit, right? You've been getting exposed. Oh, 160. I'm going to visit my boy 160, man. We're going to go out there and have fun. Look for the club 160. Look for the club, man. Right? But you see how he's not articulate enough to even be articulate enough to even battle with somebody who the world, right? You watch it on every fake news channel, you know what I'm saying? 160, right? You know what I'm saying? You watch it on every damn cable network, right? Oh, Hershel Walker is dumb. Hershel Walker can't form a sentence. Hershel Walker, right? They made him look so fucking dumb that when he told Raphael Warnock ass up, they couldn't say, oh, they couldn't come with, okay, well, we told you he was dumb. They said, well, he didn't make no sense, and he kept on saying Joe Biden. They had to keep on saying that. They couldn't talk about his policy. They couldn't talk about his angle. They couldn't talk about how Warnock didn't answer questions. They didn't say nothing about how Warnock didn't talk about the eviction, right? Look on fake news, right? They just came up with an article, right, that Warnock evicted people for things less than $30. 160, do you hear me? For things less than $30. And not one fake news station was talking about the debate, brought that up. Not one. Right? When they said he didn't pay, right? When the moderator asked him, what happened to you, right? You talk about women. What happened to you not getting this raise as a senator, right? Not paying child support and neglecting not taking care of your kid, right? Why not one why not one fake news brought that up about why he didn't answer that, right? And do his wife have a point? Why they not taking up for the wife? You ever thought about that? If his wife is saying this, and it's proof that he wasn't taking care of his kid, he wasn't paying child support, and he got a raise as a senator, and he signed an agreement that said he would on days his wife had to go to school, right? Now all of a sudden she want full custody, right? Because he wasn't doing his job, and she want more child support because guess what? If she get full custody, it's no more split parenting. She has full custody. So guess what? Of course your child support is going to go up. But the best he can say is, well, I had a marriage, and the best I got out of that was 2 kids. You can't pick him, Georgia.
Senator Warnock, some of your Senate colleagues have called for expanding the number of seats on the Supreme Court. In 15 seconds, quickly, sir, would you support this?
In 15 seconds, right? Quickly, would you support this? Have he done something quickly all night? We on a time thing. In 15 seconds, yes or fucking no? Do you support this? Expanding Supreme Court. Let's see what his 15 seconds would be when she asks him a simple question. Do you, right? Because that's a yes or no. Yes, I support expanding this Supreme Court. No, I don't support expanding the Supreme Court. Yes or no? Georgia should know your position. Do you want to support expanding? Right? Some people may agree with it and say you do. Or you don't want to agree with it. Some people may not agree with it. But do you have the guts? Do you have the backbone? Do you have the manhood? Do you have the nuts to make a stand on it? Let's see. Let's give him this last opportunity.
What I support.
Expanding
Listen.
the seats on the Supreme Court.
I think that my job as a senator is to protect the rights of ordinary citizens. And for the first time, perhaps in my lifetime, we've seen those rights contract rather than expand, whether we're talking about the reproductive rights of women or voting rights. And I'm going
Bing, bing. Yes or no? Everything but the truth. Do you support it or not? Nigga, bing, bing. Your time is over. Knock this nigga out.
going to do everything I can to protect the rights of the citizens.
Your 15 seconds. She gave you 15 seconds to answer yes or no questions. In 15 seconds, you didn't do it. You need 20 seconds and you still ain't answered it.
Citizens of Georgia.
Thank you, Senator Warnock. Mr. Walker, would you support expanding the number of seats on the Supreme Court? In 15 seconds, sir.
Yes, when you get in Washington, you have to become a leader. Being a leader, you have to make tough decisions.
Right? You see how I put waste my 15 seconds? Right? Right? I'm finna give you a soliloquy first because I already know my answer. My answer is a simple no. I don't support it. But first, I'm going to use some of my 15 seconds, which is smart, to talk about his leadership skills. And what he just didn't do was have a backbone. So let me get this out the way. Then I'm going to give you mine before the bell rings. Hershel Walker schooled him.
And you see on that answer there, he really didn't give you an answer. So my answer is no. I wouldn't know.
Thank you.
Wait. Did you hear that, Georgia, right? It took him 20 seconds and he didn't say yes or he didn't say no. Well, my job is to take care of the Georgia people and to do this and then. Okay, well, if you want to do that, what's your stance on it? Right? Give us your stance. Is it a yes or no? Because we want to know before we vote where you stand at, right? Don't be in the middle like, well, my job is this. And no, that leaves room for anything. Interpretation. There's no interpretation for anything Hershel Walker said on anything he stand on. From mental health to abortion to child support to religion to gun violence to school debt, right? To where he stand with Donald Trump, right? Right? To the fucking Atlanta Braves, right? He gave you his perspective on everything. On everything. He couldn't give you his perspective on not one. I won't support expanding the court. No, I won't. What's your thing? My thing as a senator and what people's done is, and what happens is I saw the court do this and I saw the court done, and never in history has the court done this ever, and because of this happened and this went on, and when this and shit went on, so my job is, okay, is that a yes or no? Well, what happens one, okay, well, fuck it, let's go on Hershel. Hershel, what is it? See, what I'm saying? This nigga don't answer the question. What was it with this? My answer is a simple no. Ding, ding! Fight over. It's a knockout, right? And look, and this is what I told my friend, right? And it's a guy, honest truth, before I get off over here, right? This is what I told my partner. This how I know, right? I was gonna be biased on Hershel Walker any way it went, right? Any way it went, I was gonna be biased toward Hershel Walker, right? And even me, I wasn't as confident as Hershel as I thought Hershel Walker was gonna do. I like Hershel Walker. He probably gonna do all right, but I didn't know Hershel Walker was gonna do that good, right? Now, this is how I know, right, that he won. Even though I was biased, right? What happens is I thought I was going to have to do more debunking Warnock stories and his lies and all of those shit, right? I thought I was going to debunk that shit. I thought he was going to do a lot of slick talking and shit like that, right? And I thought I had to debunk that. I thought Herschel Walker was going to slur with a couple of speech, right? Go certain ways. When you think he's going to go this way, he's going to go that way. And I thought I was going to have to protect that, right? For the simple fact, right, that Warnock made himself look like a fool, and everything I probably would have said in a skit or something like that, Herschel Walker already said, right? And he brought up the points that I would have made, right? It lets me know that even though I was biased, I know that's how I know Herschel Walker was good, because I didn't have to go as deep on Warnock as I thought I was going to go deep, and I didn't have to protect Herschel Walker as much as I thought I had to protect, right? Because every debate I had it wasn't like what niggas wasn't like, hey, I told you so. I told you Herschel Walker wasn't that. It was, oh, he done better than I thought. They don't want to say he done good, right? They don't want to say he destroyed this dude, right? They said, oh, he done better than I thought. Oh, he really done good. Okay, well, how did Warnock done? Oh, I thought Warnock done great. On what part? On all of them. Can you name one part? No. Well, I can name a lot of Herschel Walker parts. I can name you a lot of Warnock parts, right? And you can too. But it had nothing to do with policies. None of his speech had nothing to do with Georgia tonight. His church, his family, what Herschel Walker talking about. Nah, man. You evicted people. Well, let me tell you about my church. Well, let me tell you about my father. Well, let me tell you about my school. Well, let me tell you how I grew up. Let me tell you about the Pell Grant I got. What about Georgia? You didn't hear Herschel Walker use the I, me, my daddy, my mama, my family, my house, my pastor, no. The only time I used the pastor, like when I went to my mental health, I talked to my pastor, but I'm better now. I don't need to talk to him about mental health no more. When I go to my pastor, it's about the same thing that everybody else go to a pastor for. It's not for that. He made that perfectly clear. I thought Warnock thought he was going to be able to dominate Herschel Walker too. Right? So he came in unprepared. Right? If this was the lasting impression, right? And it was the only event they were gonna have, Warnock should want a rematch. He should want a run back, right? Because he should have been more prepared for these questions, right? Because if you look at this tape, he can't say this was his best showing. He can't say he totally dominated. He can't say he beat Herschel Walker on policies, on politics, on what he's going to do for Atlanta, on representing Atlanta, on separating himself from Joe Biden, right? On what he going to do, right? He never gave a yes or no answer on anything, right? So when you want to vote for somebody, you want somebody to represent somebody, Georgia, for the next 6 years. Do you want somebody who's not going to answer your fucking question? Ask Fox News, right? When they reporters went and asked these so-called Democrats about the border and about the crime, which one of them got on camera and stood up and talked or said what we were going to do? Some by the border did, but none of these motherfuckers, because they think everything is perfectly all right. The bail, right? The defunding the police, they think all that shit is perfectly fine. Him, this dude right here, the reverend, the preacher, who want to take your take away your Second Amendment rights. They say, let me get in control of the House. We're gonna do the filibuster, we're gonna take away guns, we're gonna do the assault rifle thing. This dude, him, Raphael Warnock, says he's gonna do it. Joe Biden said he's gonna do it. All these Democrats say, give us control. They're telling you what they're going to do. We're going to take your guns. Yes, this dude. We're going to take away your freedom of speech. Yes, this dude. They got Muslims in schools right now talking about, hey, man, we don't want our kids to see this shit in books and shit, right? But people are voting on that shit. Yes, this dude. Right? Transgenders in sports. Yes, this dude. Late term abortions. Yes, this dude lied about you, lied on you talking about voter rights and said, oh, they just overcame it, right? Lied about you, all that hell, all that money you raised, right? Talking about how it's a fraud. Yes, this dude. The dude who neglected his kids, didn't want to talk about what Hershel Walker done. Yes, this dude, right? The dude who wife on camera say, look, he ran over my foot and he's a good actor, right? So now all of a sudden on the Me Too movement and all this other shit, we're not gonna believe the woman, the wife, the mother. The kids do. The kids ain't running around. I mean, I'm pretty sure they love their daddy, but the kids ain't running around like fuck my mama because guess what? She's getting custody. Huh? But he loved his kids and he neglected his kids. He didn't pay for the proper child's fucking child supervision, whatever, right? Babysitter, whatever, right? Child daycare. He didn't pay for the child daycare, right? And you had to raise in your money. Yes, this dude, but they don't talk about that. The fund the police dude. Yes, this dude. Huh? Inflation Reduction Act that you're not going to see part of. Yes, this dude, the school relationship, school relief debt. I mean, debt relief, right? That you're going to have to pay. Yes, this dude. And if you vote him in, right? Because think about, right? You got some other shit in. Look up the Fed chip, right? Look up the Fed chip that's coming in. Where they're going to be censoring shit. They're going to try to run everything on a digital dollar. Who's going to vote? Who voted for that shit? Just this dude. For America to get spied on and all that old shit. Who voted for 87,000 IRS agents? This dude. Him. When the people come in your house and break down your shit and be going through your shit, this dude. Huh? When Joe Biden said, I'm finna go after your PPP loans and all this shit, I'm finna get the IRS in your business and this dude. When PayPal's and all this other motherfuckers saying, we're gonna start taking your money and you start spreading messages, this dude. Huh? Him. Right? Him. Right? It's, you know why? Right? You know why? Right? Look. This how I did not know this, right? I did not know this, right? If I walk right now, I can take a piss, and I would end up at the one of the people that was the council people that was in that on that tape because they down there protesting, right? They're down there protesting earlier. I can get up and I can piss down there, right? But what I'm saying is people are in the shape they're in because they vote in people like this that don't represent the people at all, but represent constituents, represent money, represent all that. Politicians don't make money unless they make deals. They don't. One thing Donald Trump said on the video is, I don't need y'all money. He was talking about, I don't need y'all money. Everybody, I don't need y'all money. These people up here need y'all money. I don't need y'all money. Donald Trump said that in debate. Right? These people need the money. Right? But this dude right here, right? He's part of the problem. Because if he was part of the solution, right? Have you walked away from this debate right here thinking about, okay, Raphael Warnock got the solutions to everything going on in my life right now. After that debate, right, under Raphael Warnock, I'm going to feel safer in the next 6 years. I feel my financial situation gonna get better in the next 6 years, right? I feel my business, whatever, right? After watching this debate, right? The drugs, the border, right? All that. Well, after watching this debate, do you feel better about Raphael Warnock right now than you did before you watched this debate? You can't say you're enthusiastic, even if you're a fan of Raphael Warnock. You can't say, damn, I feel a whole lot better. I knew Raphael Warnock was going to destroy Hershel Walker. No one said that ever. No one said he got, not even fake news can make that shit up. They can't make that shit up. Oh, he was this saying this, he was this. They can't make that shit up. Because they can't talk about politics. They said nothing about Warnock. Warnock, according to them, Warnock had a perfect debate. Perfect. I just went over all his mistakes, all his avoiding the questions, right? All his miscues. I just went over all that, right? And it's easy to point out, easy to see. But the only people going to point that out is conservatives, Fox News, and Newsmax. Right? And you got to find one of them stations. CNN not going to point out the mistakes he made. They want him to win. Right? MSNBC ain't going to point out the mistakes. They want him to win. This dude. They want this dude to win. So so if we want this dude to win, why is we going to talk about how he didn't answer questions? Why are we going to talk about his missing child support? Why are we going to talk about him run over his wife's foot? Why are we going to talk about anything like that? We want this dude to win. But I want to end the show tonight. Right? I want to thank y'all for coming. I want to thank the people who supported. Right? I will have the Jesus is I mean, and Trump skid up tomorrow, you know what I'm saying, on Patreon early, right? And on regular thing early later on that night, right? So I want to thank y'all, but we gotta, I mean, Georgia, this shit is up to you, right? Because it's important, right? Because I mean, you can impeach him, but it's going to be hard to impeach somebody because they would impeach the district attorney out here, right? It's going to be hard to impeach somebody, right? But if you pick this dude, right, you got to deal with this dude for the next 6 years. You got to deal with his liberal policies, and it's one thing you know, right? One thing you know for sure. If you don't know anything else about this dude right here, anything else, and I repeat, you know he's going to vote liberal. He has a record, not 50%, not some of the time. He almost have a perfect record with voting everything liberal. And the couple of things he didn't vote liberal, right, was a bipartisan thing about a bridge, right? A fucking bridge. I think it was a freeway and something else. It was 3 things that was minor that wasn't really hella liberal, like that's costing the taxpayers or the whole country, right, money. And when you vote him in, it doesn't just affect Georgia, because when he vote these laws in, right, it is not laws that just affect Georgia. It affects the whole fucking country. So when he's saying I'm going to fight for Georgia, he's not. It's impossible for him to be fighting for Georgia, right, if 97% of his voters record is with Joe Biden, right? And you can't say Joe Biden is representing Atlanta, right? But if Joe Biden is representing Atlanta, Raphael Warnock is too. And like I say, Georgia, your vote is going to affect not just you, not just your kids, right? Not just your state, but our kids, our state. And guess what? Eventually, our country, right? So put your feelings the fucking side, put your politics to the side, right? Put on your fucking thinking cap, put on your moral cap, put on your patriot cap, right? You don't have to wear a MAGA cap. Just wear a fucking patriot cap. You can make up some shit if you want to. Long as it's a patriot, something got to do with patriotism, right? And protecting this country, right? And doing what's best for this country. We don't give a fuck what kind of patriot you call yourself. As long as you're a patriot, right? But you have to do something to protect this country. And the best time to do it is fucking now. You may not have an opportunity. Because think about this. In 2 years, if he messed it up, and look how much we got to recover, and our kids got to recover from education, and how far they back behind education and stuff like that, right? Because of the decisions they made. If you think, right, that it's going to get better, right, from the history of Senator Warnock and these Democrats, right? If you think it's going to get better based on the last 2 years, and you bet on it, and you wrong, what happens then? What happens if you're wrong? What happens if you vote Warnock in, and for the next 6 years, he doesn't do what you want? And the person who, right, who you probably can eventually bet he's going to vote with the people of Georgia, right? Because his values, right, match up with the people of Georgia. His values don't. So you're going to vote with somebody who share your values, or are you going to vote with somebody who's always going to vote 97% of what Joe Biden and the Liberal Party recommend him to vote? Think about it, Georgia. Our country is in your fucking hands, right? And Dr. Oz is fucking next. Whenever that debate come on, that debate is next. I'm going through all the Democrat debates, right? I'm going to put up another Democrat debate tomorrow. I'm going to find a Democrat debate, and I'm going to go through it, and I'm going to bring out the hypocrisy. I'll probably do Michigan or something. And I don't know what I'll probably do, right? But I'm going to find me another debate, and I'm going to debunk it, right? And I'm going to expose the liberal lies, right? Because somebody has to do it. Tonight is Georgia. Tomorrow it will be somebody else. But somebody has to get the message out on what these Democrat stands is, how they'll answer these questions, how they duck, how they dodge, right? And the trouble we're going to be in if you vote these sons of bitches in. Until tomorrow, I'll see you next time. Good looking out on the donations.